Oh, hello. Good evening, Canada, and especially good evening, Nova Scotians. I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. I'm joined by my beloved friend, Lise Merle in Saskatchewan, and we are here to find out just how much Tim Houston of the Progressive Conservative Party of Nova Scotia is going to win by, because it is going to be a landslide. First, let me properly introduce you to my friend, Lise. Lise is a local politician in Saskatchewan. She is a broadcaster, and she is an author, and she is also the world famous Get Off My Lawn mom. Efron, Olivia, do you have the clip? Let us reintroduce the world to my friend, Lise Merle.
You believe that teachers should keep secrets from parents?
I may not agree with you. But
do you believe that teachers should keep secrets from parents?
Yes.
You do believe that they should keep secrets from parents?
Parents
Get off my lawn.
Thank you, friend.
Do not interrupt my friend when she is vaping on Mother's Day. Never. Lise, how's it going?
I'm great, my beloved Sheila Gunn Reid. And hello, Rebel fam. It's so good to be here again for our fourth straight consecutive election. I dare say that we are going to have election fatigue if we have any more of these, because what did we have? We had BC, Saskatchewan, New Brunswick, and now Nova Scotia. But unlike BC and New Brunswick, who were thoroughly disappointed, who we are thoroughly disappointed with the outcome, it looks like Nova Scotia is going to do the right thing and elect a Conservative government, which is wonderful for the people of Nova Scotia particularly. So,
yeah,
it's great to be here.
Yes, I'm so glad you're here. It's been far too long, and I get nothing but positive feedback. Like the emails blow up every time that you're on,
Oh,
either on the gun show or when we host the live stream. They're like, more of her, please. I'm like, yes,
thank
exactly. That's how
you.
I feel
Oh,
all the time.
well, thank you very much, Rebel Fam. I love you back. I love you back.
Now, what time is it in Nova Scotia? It's 5 o'clock here. What time is it there?
It's 6 o'clock in Saskatchewan, so it'll be 8 in Nova
8?
Scotia.
And the polls close at 9. Normally they would close at 8, but they had a polling station open an hour late. So to make sure they didn't disenfranchise anybody, they are going a little longer, which is okay because I think the results are going to be in pretty darn quick. If you believe 338, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but I don't think they're going to get this bad boy wrong. They've got Tim Houston, that's the leader of the Progressive Conservative Party in Ontario, set to reclaim his premier's office chair as the incumbent at 99% of the vote. And I was digging around on some data because I had to quickly become a bit of a dime store expert on Nova Scotia politics. And, I
Yep.
keep a watchful eye on politics across the country. I know a little bit about Tim Houston, but there has been a steady uptick of his popularity year over year in Nova Scotia. For example, I was digging around on the data. And so when he won in 2021, he had 31 seats. You have to have, I forget, I wrote it down, 28 for a majority. So not a super majority at all. The Libs had the Libs had 17 seats. Now, 3 of those seats have flipped over to the PCs in by-elections since. They've taken those from the Libs. And the Libs, their support has collapsed. So their new leader is Zach Churchill. He became the leader in 2022. And likewise with Justin Trudeau's popularity, tanked. Now, instead of what was safe opposition and close to the PCs, they are fighting with the NDP for maybe they might rake out 8 or 6 seats, 10 if they pull off a miracle. They might even not finish in opposition. And I think that is directly tied to Justin Trudeau.
Absolutely, without question, 100%. They might want to consider, like the Liberal Party of Saskatchewan did, and have a complete rebrand. I mean, the Liberal Party of Saskatchewan legit just absolutely divorced the Liberal brand, renamed themselves something else. Actually, though, their logo looks like a swirling toilet, so you can still tell that they're liberals. But they might want to consider that.
Yeah.
Probably should have before election day.
Yeah, BC United did the same thing, didn't they?
Yeah, they sure did. Yeah, they sure did, because the brand quality is just so terrible.
And
I mean, imagine
Yeah.
trying to get people to vote for you being a liberal.
I know. And when Justin
Talk about
Trudeau's his daily antics, right? Like,
that's not our guy. He doesn't represent. Actually, yeah, no, he super does. That's your boy.
does.
That's your boy.
And also I was comparing like the percentage of vote share. So Tim Houston's PCs picked up almost 39 or 38.5% of the votes last time, according to Abacus. They've got them at 45, although the number is higher of people who early voted. That's at 50%. So those are people really motivated to cast a vote against Justin Trudeau. I don't even think they're voting for Tim Houston at this point. And I guess this is probably where you get the vote out that matters. So last election, the Liberals had 36, almost 37% of the vote. So pretty close, but it looks like the Conservatives had a more productive vote. They could get the vote in the right places. And according to Abacus, that's dropped down to 21%. And the NDP are pulling at 24. So it looks like the progressive vote has gone 2 ways, to the far left or to the right. And so couldn't happen to a nicer bunch as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and just Nova Scotia, just like so many other provinces, has a really huge urban-rural divide. So in
Yes.
that urban center, which is Halifax proper, they tend to go more to the left, but everything else rural. And Nova Scotia has a huge rural population. They are voting for the PC government. So another thing that I wanted to mention that I found really interesting was the immigration trend in Nova Scotia. There's been a notable increase in immigration to Nova Scotia in recent years. Between 2016 and 2021, 21,385 immigrants arrived in the province. So, in a province with a population of around a million, that's a pretty big bump. But in 2021, their population was 969,000 people, and in 2024, estimates suggest that they're going to top out at around 1.1 million people. So they've added 100,000 people to Nova Scotia in these last several years.
10%. That's 10% of the population. That's very difficult to absorb.
Yep, which is why housing, which Tim Houston has been really, really active on, is going to take such a huge priority in this election. Tim Houston has prioritized housing and prioritized healthcare, and the way that they do that in Nova Scotia. So, whatever we see tonight will be a report card on Tim Houston's responsiveness to those brand new 100,000 people in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, I mean, that's wild. That is like adding a city the size of Red Deer. Sorry, I have to Albertaize everything to Edmonton, just sticking it right on the side of it. That's an impossibility almost. Yeah,
that's a huge influx. But like so many other areas in the country, Nova Scotia is not immune to all the problems that come with that, because when we bring people in without thinking about the infrastructure that will be needed to house and support and keep them healthy, there are some pretty huge challenges, and Nova Scotia is not immune to any of them. So we got to do what Tim Houston is doing out here in the West, maybe.
Right?
Copy
Right.
paste. Yeah. We're going to find out more about what he's doing.
You know, am I going to pay attention to a politician from the East and say that maybe the Conservatives out here should be doing it? Just maybe, if we watch what the trends are doing. I should tell everybody how they can get involved in the show, because if you are a regular watcher of these election live streams, and we've had many very recently, there are a couple ways that we can sort of democratize the show. And I should tell you that a great deal of what happens here tonight will be, as they say, ragging the puck. We're going to do a lot of killing time and chitty-chatting while we wait for these election results to come in. So we might end up slightly off topic, but it'll always be news adjacent. And if there's something that you have to say, or if you want to support the work that we do here at Rebel News, and you're watching us on the censorship platform of YouTube, okay, fine. I get it. It's kind of easy to use, and you're using it out of habit. But you should know that they don't let conservatives speak their mind over there. So if you want to support the work that we do on a platform where Rebel News is monetized, because we're not monetized on YouTube anymore. We were a little bit too truthy during the COVID era. But if you want to support the work that we do and support a platform that cares about your human right to free speech and free thought, might I suggest you meander your business over to Rumble. And over there, you can leave us something called a Rumble rant. That's their paid chat. If it's over the $5 US cutoff, I'm obligating myself and my beloved friend Lise to read and address it on air. But don't let that be the bar for entry. If we have time, and I believe we just will, we frequently read the chats that fall below that $5 US cutoff, and even the free chats if you guys are hilarious and or insightful. So I think that's everything. And we will quite likely be reading sponsored ad reads throughout the show. Don't get uptight about it, friends. It's how we pay the bills. We don't take any money from Justin Trudeau. So you're going to have to spend 20 seconds listening to me talk about sponsors who are willing to do business with conservatives, which I feel like you might want to know about. That being said, I had something I was going to say. Maybe Efron or Olivia, could you bring up the Abacus data polling on top issues impacting the vote? I thought this was kind of interesting because if you got all your news from the CBC, you would be shocked that people were talking about these issues and not the hobby horses of the insufferable marms, including Andrew Coyne. I'll include him in the insufferable marms of the CBC panel. But if you look at this, top issues impacting the vote: fixing healthcare, affordability, reducing homelessness and improving housing, reducing taxes, managing population growth, growing the economy and creating good jobs, way down there fighting climate change and protecting the environment, which I believe are actually two different things. They shouldn't be lumped together.
No. I think that if we paired out the fighting climate change, that wouldn't even rank. It wouldn't
Yes.
even rank on the scale. Yeah, it was cute that they put protecting in the environment so that it would actually make the cut.
Right.
But yes.
Right. So like for me, I would be like, yeah, let's talk about, forestry. Let's talk about protecting the ocean so that we can protect the fisheries. But
Yeah.
they lump climate change in there so that it sort of ranks a little bit higher. I think people who are like, do you believe taxes change the weather, are a statistical rounding error of Canadians. And that's not a voting issue for anybody.
No.
But it's very low. Like, and if you look at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top 5 issues, those are all issues that are impacted by out of control immigration.
All of them.
All of them.
Every single last one. Yep. Every single last one. Yep.
Which
100,000 more people will put a real strain on your housing, won't it? And just like we've seen in other jurisdictions, force people that are right on the fringes of society, that are hardly hanging on, out of their housing to make room for newcomers, which is intensely maddening to Canadians to see.
I see that even the far left-wing taxpayer-funded busybodies over at the National Observer, they've even gotten mugged by reality over there, and they are saying Nova Scotia Tories appear set to win the election. You think so? You think so? I guess it's all over but the crying to find out who is the opposition at this point.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. It's like a beauty pageant. Who's coming first runner-up and second runner-up, because we know who's going to take the crown tonight. Which is delightful. I really like knowing it. I really like knowing who's the winner sort of ahead of time. I hope that Nova Scotians don't disappoint us. Hey, can we go back to immigration? Last night I was doing some research into this, and I just want to read you a little quote from Justin Trudeau's dad, Pierre Elliott Trudeau. Now, just for a second, imagine, if you will, if this was your dad and your dad was the prime minister and he said this: "I'm jealous each time I meet someone who selected Canada instead of being Canadian by birth. It's an amazing statement of attachment to Canada," said Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau. "I always laugh at people who are intolerant and say, go back to your own country. You chose this country. It is more your country than others because we take it for granted and defaulted into this place." And so when we think about Justin Trudeau's opinion about natural-born Canadians and and their habit of defending the nation and how he treats new immigrants, well, this is exactly how his dad felt too. He literally said he laughed at people when they suggested that immigrants should go back to their own country because they chose the country instead of being born here by birth. He put more priority on people that chose Canada than people that were born here by birth. And so if we're wondering where Justin got all of his terrible, awful, grievous, unforgivable opinions about these things, well, he is his dad's boy. Wait until you see what I dug up on his mom. It's incredible.
No, I think Ezra might have shown not a nice picture of his mom one time. I admire the hustle of Justin Trudeau's mom because she still goes by Margaret Trudeau, even though she's had a couple of last names since then, because she knows which one pays the bills. So like Trudeau, she knows that the last name is everything. I was just poking around on some Tim Houston stuff because I think, like so many conservative politicians, he is trying to desperately run away from the fact that he was a totalitarian crazy person during COVID. Scott Moe was quite a bit like that. And also in New Brunswick, the conservative premier former there. Also, I mean, I did some stories on people being arrested and pinned down at the grocery store because they didn't wear a mask, even though they were mask exempt. Like some of these places were absolutely insane.
Insane.
Locking up pastors, like Pastor Phil. The Maritimes were equally as crazy as everybody else. I just don't think they got the focus because they're way over there. Once you're on the other side of Quebec, the national media just stops paying attention to you. But Tim Houston, he's got a problem with Nova Scotians working from home now. And it's like, Tim, you sent them all home back in 2020 and you told them you didn't have to come to work. And you told people that downtowns didn't matter, and that everything could be done remotely, including church. And now you're like, oh, but the businesses, you have to come back to work. I kind of like that. He says, here's what he had to say. Obviously, downtowns are critical to our economy. We have beautiful downtowns from one end of this province to the other. And what makes downtowns work is people. So we want people in our downtowns. This is one of the reasons that we're starting to move people back to work. Starting? Back to the office. I know my colleagues on stage, Ms. Chender, that's the NDP leader, and Mr. Churchill don't like that.
I thought you said it,
Miss Chender. I misgendered.
Misgendered her. Yeah. I thought you said misgender. Sorry, that's funny. That's a great name, by the way.
Misgender. But I think that moving people back to the office, it's time for that. That's why we're methodically starting to do that. This is wild. Houston was talking about the decision to make Nova Scotia civil servants head back to the office after working at home for a few years. 4 years. In August, all non-union provincial employees were told to go back to their offices on October 15th. This is 4 years ago.
Can you imagine the amount of taxpayer waste that has been squandered heating and cooling and maintaining buildings that are just sitting empty in Nova Scotia?
Sell them all. If you don't want to go back to work, we're selling the office and we're making it into affordable housing.
Oh, and by the way, here's your pink slip. Here is your pink slip. Enjoy whatever comes next. But no, these are the unions that are obviously flexing. I mean, these unions are just right off the hook with their, the work from home arrangement really works for our people, right? Because you're sitting at home smoking weed with your head cans on for 15 minutes a day and watching Dr. Phil for the rest of it. I mean, honestly, it's sick. 4 years at home. 4 years. Can you imagine?
Like I bet
they're still wearing masks to look like they're real concerned about it. Like, gotta stay.
I very recently traveled internationally, and I knew all the people who were going to get on a flight to Canada in the airport, and it was the mask wearers. I knew they were going to be on my flight because we still have this wild madness happening around this time of year, especially with COVID, and I don't understand it. But 4 years and everybody's mad because he said maybe you should go back to the office.
We're going to try and boost productivity and increase the services that we provide to the people of the province. But yet, I wonder how much we've lost as a country and lost productivity with union members sitting at home on their asses for the last 4 years. I wonder. And you know how we're always talking about our confidence in public institutions tanking into toilet bowl territory? I wonder why that is. It's because all of their employees are still sitting at home, not doing their jobs and just going, it's not my job. It's not my job. They're playing like employment hot potato.
Crying because they might have to go back to the office for 2 days a week. Just imagine the entitlement.
Reddit has a really funny subreddit about public sector employees whining about all of the hardships that they're going to have to suffer if they go back to work, and nothing delights me more. It's like, I'll
I-
have to pack a lunch. I'll have to pack a lunch if I go.
I'll have to commute.
Seriously. Wait, one of them was, my dog has separation anxiety, and if I have to leave, if I have to leave her alone, she's
the
going to
dog
be
mom.
destructive in my apartment. Yep.
Okay,
She's gonna
train
have to.
your
Your
dog.
dog is just gonna. Yeah, your dog is just gonna have to get kennel trained or something.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
honestly, it's hilarious. I should find it and we should read a bunch.
We should
because
do
regular
a dramatic reading of them.
because regular people will just not understand how disconnected these people are. Oh God.
We've got, I think it's the last message from Tim Houston. I think this is today. He cut a quick social media video. And he's directly, is this, yes. No, is this today? Let's look. Efron, thanks for digging that up. I'm sorry, I should have been more prepared. This is from geez, Sheila. I'm just making things up now. This is from 2 years ago, Tim Houston, right around this time of the year. And he's talking about the carbon tax and hanging it around the neck of Justin Trudeau, which is also hanging around the neck of the Liberal leader in Nova Scotia, like an absolute millstone. But anyways, let's watch this.
Today, the Liberal government failed Nova Scotians by putting a carbon tax on Nova Scotia when fuel and heating costs are already at an all-time high. Nova Scotia supports action on climate change, but does not support a carbon tax on home heating oil at this time. There are better, more effective ways to help the environment. And a new fuel tax, when there are record highs at the pumps, also makes no sense. We have been told this is intended to change behavior. But even with today's high prices, we are not seeing that behavioral change because we can't change behaviors. People in rural communities need to drive. They don't have the option to bike or take the bus, or as the federal minister suggested, use the subway. The Liberal government had a choice. They could have chosen our legislative plan to reduce more emissions than their carbon tax will, but instead, the Liberals are imposing a carbon tax, knowing Nova Scotians and Canadians are struggling. Nova Scotians will remember.
We will
Good.
remember.
We will remember. I'm not even a Nova Scotian, but I kind of like that threat that he's going to make sure that everyone's reminded. Although in utter disappointment, as I tend to have, I see that Tim Houston has been taken into the DEI madness of the Transgender Day of Remembrance. So it's not enough that the sexual minorities have their own parade. They used to have their own weekend, and then they had their own month, and then they had their own season, which we used to call summer. And then now they have their special days. So there's a day of visibility, there's a day of remembrance. I can't remember all the other ones, but if you don't appropriately wear the AIDS ribbon a la Kramer, they will come and get you. And so he doesn't want to be beaten up in the streets, Tim Houston, like Seinfeld. He did the thing. He said, we remember the lives lost as a consequence of anti-trans hate. Tim, can you name one? Just name one Nova Scotian. If they said, like this person, I would at least understand why we're making this post, but I don't. Nova Scotians should feel safe and welcome regardless of their sexuality or identity. I agree with the other part, but if they could just give me one example of this, that would be lovely.
I wonder if he said anything on Women's Day about women who are disproportionately more vulnerable than any trans person as it pertains to violence, as it pertains to sexual assault, as it pertains to economic and psychological abuse. I wonder if Tim Houston had anything to say about women who statistically speaking are the most vulnerable sector of every society across the globe, with absolutely zero exceptions. I also wonder if Tim Houston knows that the risk of suicidality in trans people is greatest 7 years post transition, because after all of the accolades and after all of the bravery awards sort of simmer down, what people have left is a life that they don't recognize in a body that they can't escape with the exact same problems they had before. I wonder if Tim Houston knows that.
I can't find anything from him on International Women's Day.
I bet not. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Tim Houston ignoring 50% of the population in the province. Let me just check the Googles. I'm just going to check the Googles. Oh, yeah, no, it is Nova Scotia population. 50% of the population is women. So remember that, Nova Scotia women, that Tim Houston marked transgender, what was it? Day of Remembrance, and said nothing on your behalf, even though you are the most vulnerable sector of society. It's time that we start holding the feet of these conservatives to the fire on these issues, Canada, like right today.
And you know what? If you do, they will change. They will legislate around it. Look what happened in Alberta. Ralph Klein once said, the secret to a good politician is to see the parade marching and then jump in front of it and lead it. Get in front of it. So people, if you want to change your politicians, you have to start the movement, because politicians are opportunistic, and so often their only ideology is power. Now, some of them will be true blue conservatives, or at least libertarians. I'm looking at you, Danielle Smith. But they need the moral courage to do the right thing. They need to know that when the left and the media, and I don't know if I should be making a distinction between those two groups, comes for them, that you will say, that politician speaks for me. And so Nova Scotians, now's your chance. Get that ball rolling, because Tim Houston is going to finish this election with an overwhelming majority. Give him the mandate to do these things, because he's got 4 years to do it.
That's right. That's exactly right. Nova Scotia parents, if you're concerned about biological boys, encroaching on the change rooms and washrooms and gender-based rights of your daughters, now would be a great time to get in touch with Tim Houston as well. I mean, if we are acknowledging that Canadians have rights, now would be a good time to remind Tim Houston that women are a good portion of that population. All the dads in Nova Scotia can get involved. You can start talking to the government about what you expect them to do in these next 4 years. I mean,
you can point to Alberta and say, look what they're doing over there. Look how popular she is for doing it. Look how unafraid she is. Look how people appreciate her and love her, and how she's making international news doing that. And let's be clear, Tim Houston is capable of changing. Now, he might not do it publicly, but he went from being an absolute lunatic on COVID, like just a wild man, just loving them lockdowns and vaccine passports, to let's move on from that and never speak of it again. And so I guess that's as close as you get to a politician having a bit of a come to Jesus moment. This is sort of the Scott Moe move on this. Danielle Smith, she just came out and apologized for the dirty deeds of her predecessor, Jason Kenney. I think it's one of the reasons that she's the premier now. But Tim Houston has changed on lockdowns and COVID because he was an idiot at one point. Let's show that clip.
The virus loves the unvaccinated. That's why we're still focused on getting first and second doses to Nova Scotians. I understand we should be able to add children under 12 to our priority list very soon. But today we're announcing that we will follow the recommendation released last Friday by NACI to roll out booster doses to certain groups. And Dr. Strang will again talk more about that in a moment. But the simple message remains this: please get vaccinated. Whether it's your first, your second, or your booster dose, as soon as possible, please get your vaccination. The virus
loves us. It loves the unvaccinated.
Loves the
It wants to touch
unvaccinated.
you. It's
So
coming on to
attracted to
you.
the unvaccinated. That's right. I still can't believe that that time actually happened. Like I'm still in a little bit of a state of disbelief that that actually happened. But it looks like he became premier in 2021. So that was
No, he
partway.
was reelected in 2021. I think he was
Oh,
reelected in
was he?
2021. Oh no, maybe he was. Yes. So he was freshly into that. Let's go back into this. Okay. Let me go back down. Sorry, everybody in the whole wide world. I should have known this. I know he became the leader in 2018. 2021. Okay, let's look. Nova Scotia general election 2021. So let's look. My God, how embarrassing for me. So 2017. Okay, that's right. So the Liberal Party, led by Stephen McNeil, that is right, wins the 2017 Nova Scotia general election. Tim Houston won in 2021. So he is a first-time incumbent.
So he came in sort of partway through COVID, then sort of inherited it from the previous government, which, I mean, I guess I got a little bit of grace for the guy if he was just sort of picking up a burning dumpster fire of a province that was right in the middle of it, and it also gave him a little bit of leeway to backtrack out of those bad decisions, because he wouldn't have been the one that was originally making them.
Yes. I want to talk about something that you and I did together. I don't know, I think it was a year ago, maybe. Because in a very surreal experience for me, and this is completely off topic from the Nova Scotia election, but like I said, we got a lot of time to kill right now. And so let's, in case, for those of you who only know Lise as the Get Off My Mom lawn and a very recent star over here at Rebel News, she and I get up to some hijinks sometime in real life, but also in the course of duty. And some of you may remember when Faye Johnstone, the radical federally funded transgender activist, was the keynote speaker at the Nutriem, that's right, the fertilizer company, YWCA Women of Distinction Awards in Regina, just rubbing it in the faces of women. And this was fresh off of Faye Johnstone's international embarrassment being part of the Hershey's Women's Day campaign. Those that they, by the way, they didn't sell those in the Middle East. I checked last year when I was there. And you know, those ended up on clearance pretty darn quick because nobody wanted them. But
yeah, it was the cookies and cream flavor. I have to say, it was like the most god awful, ugly, gross, barfable flavor that you would
grotesque one.
That one. That's the one that got. Yeah.
Like Zach is a man trying to be a woman. Zach Faye Johnstone is a man trying to be a woman. That is a cookie flavor pretending to be a chocolate bar, and it shouldn't happen. Yeah. But anyways, the world was outraged. I was outraged. Lise was outraged. We started a petition at firefaye.com. Many of you signed it. And then we thought, let's go ruin Faye's big day. So I went to Regina. And there are things about this trip that we didn't talk about in the video, but we could have talked about it in the video. And I think we'll maybe tell that story now. But
nobody knows it. Like, you guys are getting the exclusive, and it is so funny and so juicy.
Nobody knows this, but it goes to show how entitled Faye is. So I hop a flight from Edmonton to Regina, which, now that I'm thinking about it, time spent in the air, traveling to the airport, clearing the airport, I probably should have just driven. But we wouldn't have the airport story. That is not the story where we could have very easily abducted a flight crew of handsome WestJet pilots.
Cool.
But
that's one of my peak moments in life, Sheila Gunn Reid, is when we almost abducted a herd of WestJet pilots. Oh, come on.
My friend Lise drives a Sprinter. Why? She has an enormous family, and she likes to tootle around in it. So she goes to Regina to pick me up from the airport.
Yes.
And well, you take it from here.
Okay, so Sheila's flight was a little bit delayed on the Edmonton side. So they were late taking off, and we had 10,000 signatures that Rebel viewers signed our petition. We got 10,000 people to sign the petition to fire Faye in 10 days. This was incredible, you guys, and thanks so much for showing up for women in that moment. Because that was the, like, honest to God, that was the moment that my eyes were absolutely blown open to the insanity and what had happened to Canada. Like, I knew that things were going downhill, but that was the actual moment that I went, holy crap, we have lost our bloody way. So Sheila launches this petition. We get 10,000 signatures, and Sheila's plane is delayed on the Edmonton side. So Sheila says to me, can you quickly run to Staples and grab copies of the 10,000 signature petition and then meet me at the airport? I said, yeah, I can do that. And so I got there a little bit early. It was a beautiful day in May in Saskatchewan, just absolutely gorgeous. And I have this humongous van. And this is what I like to do in my van. I like to open the door and find myself a sunbeam and sit with my little typewriter and listen to good tunes while Sheila's plane is landing. So as I'm sitting in the Regina Airport parking lot, I look up, and there is a hulking man, okay, a hulking 6-foot tall man with broad shoulders and red stringy hair and a skirt and combat boots. And before I could even say it, I said, Faye? And Faye looks, and I said, welcome to Regina, which is when Faye started tromping over to my van, just like the WestJet pilots did, thinking that I was his celebrity transport. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, like, what? And what I did was I held up those 10,000 signatures, and I said, 10,000 people do not believe that you should be here for this event. And his face contorted, mad, like I saw teeth bared. And then he stomped off into the arms of an ally who was there to catch him. Not 2 seconds later, Sheila Gunn Reid's plane landed. And I mean, I was just losing my mind that I had an encounter in the wild with Faye Johnstone. Okay, in the wild. But I must go back and say, what I said was, welcome to Regina. And 10,000 people don't think that you're the right guy for this job, because this is a women's organization doing a fundraiser for a homeless shelter for women, okay, for women at a business women's event, okay? So this was exactly the wrong dude, because he is a dude, okay? So just to go backwards a little bit, I have an accidental encounter with Faye Johnstone. When Sheila got off the plane, across the airport, I am screaming already, okay? I'm screaming at her. Faye is in the parking lot. I just met Faye. So off we go. Okay, me and Sheila, off we go. Tell them what happened when you got to the YWCA, because we were gonna deliver the document to the YWCA, so they knew how upset Canadians were about their betraying the women. So go on, tell them what happened.
Oh, so we go to the YWCA. Did we find Faye on the street first or after?
No, after.
Okay,
After.
so we go to the YWCA. She, again, as I say, drives a big black Sprinter van. And the YWCA is not in the nicest part of town. And so we pull up, and I'm there with Kian, our videographer. And Lise says to Kian, he's sitting sort of in the backseat, I'm riding shotgun, and she says, can you just reach around in that box of candy and hand me some suckers? And Kian's like, what? And she says, just hand me some suckers. And we're like, okay, like, you're the driver, here's the suckers, maybe she's sugar fueled. She pulls up in this black van, and all of a sudden these meth zombies start trudging towards the van. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And she takes the candy and whips it out the window, and they go after the candy. And then Kian and I jump out and go into the YWCA, and she goes, you guys, they think I'm the needle exchange van. It's okay.
It's a true story. Because I drive this humongous black van that looks like it should say free candy on the side. So I stuff it full of free candy, and it comes in so handy when you pull up to the YWCA and you literally see meth heads with, like, here, look at, these are them with their dirty needles running towards you. It's good to have some, you just take the candy and throw it. You just, over here, kids. They disappeared. They scattered.
We jumped out, ran into the YWCA, and then we get in there and nobody would take the petition. I'm like, hi, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid from Rebel News, and I just have a document that I want to drop off. If someone wouldn't mind taking this, I want to, it's a petition of 10,000 signatures of concerned Canadians who don't think that Faye Johnstone should be the keynote speaker at the women's event for a women's shelter. And they, sorry, I should say, who don't think that Faye Johnstone, a biological man, I kept saying that word, and every time I said it, it looked like I inflicted physical pain on these people. They flinched and squirmed. Every time I said it was like speaking Latin to a demon, and they just wouldn't take it. They just wouldn't take it. Finally, I'm pleading. I'm like, just take this. It's just paper. It doesn't have germs. Just put it on somebody's desk. Take it, and they wouldn't. So then we had to leave because they were just mortified. It was like their arms wouldn't work. They weren't into full T-Rex mode.
Here it is.
There it is.
Oh my God, here it is.
Look how polite I am.
P.S. This is in 2023. So like the mask, little bit unnecessary. Oh, right. Nope. Oh, nope. Look at, nope.
This is a presumed public place. You have people who are coming and going here.
Authorize you filming us.
Okay, but this is a presumed public place. It's not a private place, so you can.
But I don't authorize you filming me right now.
That's not how it works. I just want to deliver this petition.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Oh, this is so good.
Yes, I'm just here to drop off a petition. It's signed by 9,000 people calling on the YWCA to rescind.
I hope you're not filming me.
You're good. You're filming.
Hey, you can't be on the property and be filming. We don't give you permission to film in here, and I definitely don't give you permission to film me.
Okay, can I just give you this petition?
I'm not accepting it.
These are the signatures of 9,000.
I'm not the person that you need to talk to, okay?
I just want to put this on Adrian Soroka's desk.
No,
just somebody.
I'm sorry, I can't accept it. I'm not. And
Why not?
I really don't appreciate being filmed.
Can somebody just take this petition? It's not radioactive.
I'm not accepting it. The people that are CEOs and stuff aren't here right now, and I'm not in a position to accept that for them. If you would like to come back, you're more than welcome to come back and see them, but right now
there's nobody who can put this on Adrian Soroka's desk. Just nobody has arms and nobody knows the way to the office. Got it. So, I mean, it's not a big enough slap in the face for women and girls that you hired a biological male to speak on behalf of us, but
you won't
leave the property. You won't take the names of the people who object either.
Yeah, you guys are gonna need to leave.
Okay, we'll leave, but
Thank you.
I guess we'll drop this in the mail. Thank you.
Bye.
You know, that moment taught me so much, Sheila. Okay, not the least of which, the next time we have to do this, we're going to print out those names on 10,000 individual pieces of paper, fold them into paper airplanes, and sail them from the nearest parkade. Okay, number one. But the way that they will obfuscate around it and be like, no, I can't take it. And what? Like, these are people who are so ingrained in their confirmation loops that they absolutely cannot stand the thought of somebody with a dissenting opinion, which is why Rebel is so important to the Canadian media landscape. These are people through COVID. It's a true story. This is like, I learned the power of that. And I just want to say thank you to every single person that signed that petition. Just for the record, I read each and every one of your names into the universe as a thank you. It meant so much to me, to the legacy of my grandmother who had shame brought upon her organization in that moment. But the YWCA, I mean, you can't get any more ridiculous than those people. I mean, as you just saw there.
Now, I truly believe that the hand of God was guiding my journey to Regina that day, because not
I'm
only
gonna
did
dry my tears because this gets funny again right
it
away.
gets funny again, and this for everybody who's watching right now, this is the background of what happens for you to see 2 minutes of video. It's always a bit of an adventure, especially when it's Lisa and I doing our thing. And again, so Faye is very nearly abducted by Lisa at the airport. But instead she held up a Bible of names of people who didn't
That's
agree
right.
that a man, and so it recoiled in horror. And then
Yes.
we are leaving. So, and if they had not sent me to the post office so that I had to physically mail all those names to the office I was just standing in, the YWCA, had they
Yeah.
not done that to me, I would not have been in the right place at the exact right time when Faye Johnstone was sitting on a bench across the street from his hotel, sucking back a dart. And lo and behold, we're cruising down the street in the Sprinter van. We're thinking, okay, I guess that's it. Our duty here is done. There's not much we can do.
Oh my God. It's just the
There's
best.
Faye.
We're driving down Victoria. Oh, here we go.
Okay,
To
let's
Faye being the keynote speaker at the Women of Distinction Awards being doxxed and threatened online. Let's go check it out. Let's see how this goes.
Oh my God, this was such an amazing moment. It was the best moment of the entire weekend.
Hi, Faye. Hi, I'm Sheila
Hi.
Gunn with Rebel News. And I was just wondering how you respond to Regina businesswomen who object to you being the keynote speaker at the Women of Distinction Awards being threatened and doxxed online for, I guess, the crime of disagreeing with you. Faye?
Have a good day.
I'm gonna. I think you might too. Do you think it's
There's the
okay for those
van.
women to be threatened for disagreeing with you?
There's the van.
Like, I think that's an easy response. You should say, yes, I don't think women should be threatened for disagreeing with me. I don't think you should be threatened for disagreeing with me. Faye, do you think those women should be threatened? Because they are being threatened. They're being kicked off of social media. Biological women are being silenced simply for disagreeing with you. Do you think that's fair? Do you think that they should be threatened? I think that's an easy response. No, I don't think people should be
I
threatened.
said I would not like to speak with you. Please leave me alone.
Okay. Bye, Faye. Enjoy your time in Regina.
Oh, I'm gonna
And
cry.
we went to the
I'm gonna-
legislature. Yeah,
gonna
that was
cry.
a
We held
good
the-
day.
Oh,
That
there's
was your
the
silent
gold
protest.
the gold duct tape over my mouth. And that's when I realized, right then I realized how bad it had gotten in Canada.
Yeah.
Right then.
Yep.
Look at the dress. The dress is amazing. Oh. I was just trying not to cry. Just try not to cry.
Look at all the women who joined you.
Look at them beautiful women. And that's all I
Those-
needed to keep going. And that's all the permission I needed to know that this was my thing and I was going to chase it until it died. Look at the difference in my hair. Oh
I
my
know.
God. Like,
Mine's still the same.
like when I heard that Faye Johnstone, oh, Lisa, you were so sad. I was so sad about it. I mean, it's just such a brutal thing to understand as a woman in Canada that your place is being erased in the world by trans activism in particular and the transgender movement in Canada, which is all federally funded. PS, this is not a grassroots problem. This is big pharma, this is big tech, and this is big government interfering and trampling over the rights of women. And I knew in that moment, Sheila, when those 8 strangers showed up, 8 fierce, fearless, amazing women showed up, that I was not alone in this, that there were other people that saw the depravity of this entire thing, and we have not stopped. And I dare say that we've moved the needle so much in Canada since May of 2023, where we can start having conversations about this. Whereas in May 2023, when women pointed out that Faye Johnstone is a man, they were doxxed. They lost their media partnerships. Their businesses were threatened. Their families were doxxed and threatened. It was such an insane time. And it was really interesting because at the time, and for a lot of the time through COVID, I was just on a typewriter. Like I was in my van on a typewriter, and I didn't quite know that it was forbidden to say that only women could be women. I was actually unaware that was societally unaccepted by the elites of the world. Like it came as such a shock to me that the truth was being censored in a way, and that women were being censored in a way that they had no capacity to stand up for themselves. And man, have we moved mountains in this last year. We have moved mountains on this issue in the last year. And as we move towards the federal election, we are going to keep moving those mountains. The end. We're going to win. We're going to win it back. You can't erase women and mothers. You cannot. We won't have it.
Now, the adventure of that day continues on, although it's like 18 months ago, because now, for some ungodly reason, Faye Johnstone was called to testify at the Heritage Committee that is doing a study on free speech and free expression. And it was literally heaven and hell. So we have Father Raymond D'Souza, who's a columnist and a Catholic priest, giving a impassioned defense of free speech and free expression, and listing out all the ways that the federal government controls free speech and uses regulatory bodies to do the dirty work of the government. Because if the government did some of this stuff, it would be in court. So they offload it onto regulatory bodies like medical associations, and they fund proxies, Faye Johnstone, to bring forward busybody free speech cases or overstep into the realm of provinces, because the federal government can't do that. So Father Raymond D'Souza, brilliant man, incredible columnist, just someone who truly believes that freedom comes from God and it is not coming from the government. It is the government's job to make sure that it never steps all over your freedom. And then Faye Johnstone comes along and for some ungodly reason, I think it was the NDP who called Faye Johnstone to testify, gives an impassioned speech about why we need more censorship, that Faye Johnstone's life is a lot easier because women like Lise get intimidated online or kicked off of social media or brought before human rights tribunals for simply speaking the truth. And our little adventure from Regina, Faye testified about that as one of the key attacks on Faye over the last little bit, and basically saying that I endangered him. Little me, big Faye, I endangered him. My presence on the street endangered him. I was very intimidating to him as I tried to keep up. My little legs could hardly keep up to his big, long man legs. But anyway, I think this is about 5 minutes, but I bet you could use a quick break unless you want to stick around and watch the whole thing. But Efron, let's roll it. And then I think by then the results might start coming in.
Okay.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, committee. My name is indeed Faye Johnstone. I'm the Executive Director of Queer Momentum, a national LGBTQI+ advocacy organization. And I've dedicated my career to advancing the freedom, rights, and overall equality of two-spirit, queer, and trans people in Canada. I am grateful for the opportunity to address you today within this study on protecting freedom of expression. To begin, I would invite members of the committee to reflect on the long and proud history of queer and trans people advocating for freedom, inclusive of freedom of expression. Our legacy as a country includes the criminalization of LGBTQI+ people, the denial of our human and civil rights, inaction from our government during the AIDS crisis, government-led efforts to remove us from the public service, police raids on our establishment, Canadian customs targeting our businesses, censorship of our literature, and so much more. We are a community that has been subjected to a horrifying legacy of discrimination, dehumanization, violence, and inequality that continues to this day. Those most marginalized in our community are often those whose voices are most silenced. In my work today, I stand on the shoulders of giants, of gay men, lesbians, queer and trans people, and our allies who fought and won human rights for my community. Because of those advocates, I've grown up in a Canada that is more welcoming and more inclusive. The Canada that I grew up in filled me with hope. I believe that we are on the cusp of something incredible, a Canada where we have shed our age-old hostility towards gender and sexual diversity, and we're ready to embrace a more diverse, inclusive, and equitable future, not just for queer and trans people, but for all Canadians. In the past 5 years, I've unfortunately lost that hope. I've seen the resurgence of homophobia and transphobia all across this country as part of a broader global backlash against queer and trans people. Now I am fearful of the trajectory we're headed in. I'm worried that we're headed towards a future where my community's rights and freedoms, including our freedom of expression and our overall equality, will be stripped away in a political era defined by fear, anger, and misinformation. Each year for the past 3 years, Statistics Canada has reported increases in hate-motivated violence targeting queer and trans people. CSIS has warned that the anti-gender movement, the term that describes a range of anti-LGBTQ+ groups, poses a threat of extreme violence in Canada. Across this country, drag performers, LGBTQI+ activists, Pride Festival organizers, and parents of queer and trans kids have been targeted with hate, with death threats, and other forms of harassment, both online and in real life. Rhetoric that demonizes, dehumanizes, and strips dignity away from my community has created a culture of fear amongst queer and trans Canadians. As a trans advocate, I've personally experienced the price of speaking out for my community. Last year, I was subjected to an international hate and cancel campaign for my inclusion as a transgender woman in a Hershey's Canada International Women's Day ad initiative. My participation in this campaign sparked global backlash. Figureheads of the far right and anti-LGBTQ groups, including individuals like Tucker Carlson, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, and others, targeted me. They published my dead name, shared pre-transition photos of me, created and circulated disgusting caricatures, and otherwise directed vitriol my way. The degree of hate and risk to my safety that this backlash unleashed was such that I was accompanied by security guards for 6 days straight. Words cannot adequately convey the psychological impact of being targeted by the combined might of hate groups and far-right leaders across the country and around the world. While I am indeed an activist, at the end of the day, I am simply a young woman who happens to be trans, who is speaking up for what she believes is right. And what happened to me is unfortunately an extreme example, but one of many other examples happening to members of my community all across Canada. After the Hershey's fiasco, I was invited to be a keynote speaker at a women's rights gala in Regina. Rebel News took issue with my inclusion, and this so-called media outlet created an online petition to have me fired, powered by a website called literally www.firefae.ca. They also published my dead name in another attempt to shame me. And as if this wasn't enough, days before the gala, a Rebel News reporter found me in a park across the street from my hotel, and she made the irresponsible and dangerous decision to publish a video disclosing where I was staying, this after weeks propagating hate and harassment towards me. And this put my safety at immediate and real risk. Rising anti-LGBTQ+ hate is both morally repugnant and a direct threat to freedom of expression. What happens when you, as a queer person or the parent of a trans kid or an ally, risk being doxxed, personally targeted, and subjected to hate and harassment if you speak out for human rights, equality, and freedom? What happens when Canadians are unable to express their political opinions or speak out on political issues without significant and potentially safety-compromising repercussion? What scares me most in Canada today is witnessing hate jump from a social phenomena into mainstream politics. In the last year, we've seen 3 governments in Canada use misleading slogans and deceptive language to sow division, normalize hate, and cue their support for anti-LGBTQ2+ groups. There is no more egregious example than what we're seeing with Premier Scott Moe in Saskatchewan, suspending the charter-protected rights of Saskatchewan children to put forward legislation that denies freedom to trans kids. This divisive rhetoric isn't happening in isolation. It has given cover for these elements of draconian legislation on the provincial level. And beyond the specific impact of the policies themselves, they've created a culture of fear. In many ways, it's akin to the don't say gay laws that we're seeing
30
in
seconds.
America, where Canadian classrooms, where teachers in classrooms, school administrators, and students themselves are afraid to mention, touch on, or talk about gender and sexuality. What happens in a country where instead of bringing people together, we normalize division and difference, with even the leader of Canada's Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, fanning the flames of conspiracy with his allusion to gender ideology. I don't have all the answers. I'm not a lawyer, but I am a Canadian committed to defending freedom, equality, and rights. because they're each dependent on each other. I believe in a Canada where my community is truly free, truly equal, and truly safe. And that cannot happen when elected officials flirt with hate. 2SLGI plus people at the end of the day are human beings, not political props to be maligned and targeted to gain power. And I urge us all to reject hate and unite in a shared vision of a better future for all Canadians. Thank you.
So that's a man that hates women, number one. That is a man who absolutely hates women, number one. Is absolutely tone deaf because it's not that he even have, you know, it's like two peas rolling around in the frying pan. Never the two shall meet when it comes to his brain cells. That women's safety has been eroded to nothing because of his movement. That children's safety has been eroded to nothing because of his movement. That parental rights have been denigrated to nothing because of his movement. This is a person that is completely detached from reality. And the reason, Sheila, that your event made the committee and made Faye Johnstone speak about it a year and a half later was the first time he had been publicly challenged by anyone. And so all of the I mean, just all of the honor to you, Sheila Gunn Reid, for making that happen. Well, yes,
it's
yes,
the people.
Sheila.
It was the people, and I think it was the sprinter. It's always brought us good luck.
We have a lot of fun in that van. We have a lot of fun in that van. But that is why it was brought up.
He didn't mention my question to him. My question to him was, what about the women that are being canceled and threatened online for speaking out against you? He never mentioned, that was my question. My question was about people who were experiencing real threats. And he claimed my questions about the very real threats women were experiencing were some sort of physical threat to him.
So, and what he said about revealing where he was staying in Regina, we didn't mention that because anything bad would happen to Faye Johnstone in Regina. He was sitting on the street just like everybody else. Nothing bad would happen. He was embarrassed because we pointed out the YWCA, a perennially underfunded, cash-strapped organization, forever begging for money from the taxpayer, put up this hobo in the most expensive hotel in all of Saskatchewan. This is a 5-star hotel, you guys. And this is where I'm going to call him a jackwagon. This is where this jackwagon was put up for 3 days in Regina. That's a more than $2,000 bill if you add it all up. And to do a fundraiser for the YWCA of Canada, we only pointed it out because it was so egregious. I mean, it was insult on injury on insult on injury on insult on injury. And let us not forget that Faye Johnstone said that he wanted it to be that women, who women, TERFs, yes, this is trans, what is it?
Exclusionary
radical feminists should be so vilified in Canada that they would dare not even think their thoughts out loud, let alone say them. Well, guess what? You created an entire army of TERFs, Faye, and we are not going to stop until this is unwound. There is calls to repeal C4 and C16 to enshrine the rights of women and enshrine the rights of parents across the nation of Canada, and we're not going to stop. So well done, buddy.
As Fron tells me, 5 minutes past the close of the polls, the election results are already running it. Now that we've spent like a half an hour talking about this whole thing, and the reason I wanted to talk about it is because Lise was there for this, and then all of a sudden I'm brought up in the House of Commons at a committee, and it was a very surreal experience for me as I'm covering the committee, and I'm like, hold on, they're talking about me. The reason I want to just talk about this, and then we'll get directly to the election results, is a tie to Nova Scotia. So Faye Johnstone and his racket, Wisdom to Action, although it's been rebranded into something else, it's gone to Queer Momentum or Momentum Canada, but it was originally Wisdom to Action, founded in Nova Scotia, and it has received over $1 million from the federal government for this kind of stuff, to go to the House of Commons to testify, to say that we should be silencing women who speak out against me. Here's the tie to Nova Scotia. So not only is it based in Nova Scotia, the co-founder of Wisdom to Action, an NDP MLA in Nova Scotia. So this NDP
Yes,
MLA is getting federal funding. Lisa LaChance. She was first elected to the Nova Scotia House of Assembly for Halifax, Citadel, Sable Island in 2021. She's the deputy speaker, them, founder, and co-owner of Wisdom to Action with Faye Johnstone, working as an MLA in Nova Scotia, getting federal funding for this little side hustle they've got going with Faye Johnstone. So this is what's happening in Nova Scotia right now. The radical left is just especially as radical, and they are milking the Canadian taxpayer for everything they can get. Now that we've wrapped that, now we've just closed the circle on that story. Full circle. Now we're back to Nova Scotia. Election results are coming in. Looks like already 30 seats for the PCs. Isn't that wild?
Little Trump dance.
So if we go
Happy little Trump dance.
I'm gonna see Lise on Friday night, and we're gonna do the little Trump dance, and I'm gonna throw a golf swing in. Sorry, I got tangled up in my mic cords. But it looks like 49 of 55 electoral districts are reporting, and elected and leading 36 for the PCs right now.
Oh my
the
God!
NDP are at 8. The Liberals are at 3. Where is their leader? Is he going to lose his seat?
Oh, please, yes. Oh, please. Wouldn't it be amazing if Lisa LaChance lost hers? Wouldn't it be absolutely amazing? Lisa LaChance lost her seat?
Citadel. Select electoral district. Citadel. Halifax, Citadel, Sable Island. It's not reporting yet. Everybody say a prayer for Eleanor Humphreys.
Eleanor. Go, Ellie. Let's go, Eleanor.
Where is...
I had an aunt, Eleanor, one of the most inspiring people I've ever known in my life. Yeah. Go, Eleanor.
I love that name. It should come back. Zach Churchill. Where is he? He is in Yarmouth. Let's look. What's happening there in Yarmouth? It's a fun word to say, by the way.
Yarmouth. Nova Scotia.
We don't have it yet. I don't have it yet. Yarmouth? Page will auto refresh in 18, 16 seconds. These results are very, very fast.
Wow, what are they doing that BC isn't?
Yeah.
I mean, what a show in BC. Isn't it wild what's happening?
I mean, it's as quickly as they the conspiracy theorists, the faster they do that, the more of a conspiracy theorist I become, right? And then they're all like, where did this box of votes even come from? And then you're supposed to believe that that's the only box of votes that they didn't know were honestly.
I'm a conspiracy realist at this point. That needs to be your rebel hoodie, is conspiracy realist. What are you?
These are my... Well, it looks like Zach Churchill might lose his seat. Can you pull up the results for Yarmouth right now? Now, the distance just widened.
Nice.
If we go to Yarmouth, this is wild. It takes a second to refresh. If we go to Yarmouth, you see how if you scroll down, Efron, Olivia, you can actually search by electoral district. Go to Yarmouth. That's the Liberal leaders riding. Zach Churchill, and he is losing. Thank you, Justin Trudeau.
Amazing. Well done, Nova Scotia. Keep going. Keep going.
It just keeps widening. So that's something. Okay.
Oh, people in the comments on Rumble are so nice. I just love them. Oh, you guys are just the best. Thank you so much. Yeah.
What kind? Oh, we have okay, listen. Lise, you know how you said that should be a shirt? It's not a shirt, but it's a cup. So Efron, bring it up, and this is a good time to plug the store. I realize that you're dealing with Canada Post outages. Those people want 25% in a raise and us to pay for their
bottom surgeries.
there's sex
Yes.
changes, and I'm like, no, I'll order off Amazon. I guess Bezos is getting rich off Sheila this year. But if you go on to the Rebel News store, conspiracy realist.
I thought I had all of the Rebel merch and I don't. Sheila, if you're wondering what I want for my birthday, which is coming up right away, just like I know that I don't let you forget.
I
what
already did my shopping, but Efron, if you would not mind getting in touch with Isaac and having one of these mailed out to Lise, that would be wonderful.
Efren, if you could send me a set of 12. I'll put them in my china cabinet. I'll put them on display. I have a Martha Stewart level china cabinet, and I would fill it full of Rebel merch.
Yeah.
I would actually, that would be hilarious.
Just a hutch of old Rebel News coffee cups.
See this? I have a china cabinet right here. I would fill it. I would just fill it full of that. Yeah, with the Burks boxes. See the Burks box, the super collectibles from the 1940s. Yeah, that's where the Rebel merch goes, right there.
So an NDP are at 7 seats right now. The Liberals are back down to 2. So it's an absolute disaster for the Liberals, and I couldn't be happier about it. Where is, it just refreshed again, 38 for the PCs. I'm looking again. Where's that horrible they-them woman who is
Lisa
Citadel?
LaChance.
Halifax Citadel. Let's look. They have no polls reporting there. Probably a bunch of unionized NDP.
They're probably losing the boxes right now. Yeah, they're probably losing the boxes.
That's odd considering everything's coming in. Of course, it's like the urbanist of urban Halifax, right? That's how these people get elected.
Yeah.
See how much Tim Houston's winning by. Let's find, where's Tim Houston? What's his riding?
First, I love maps. Like, I love maps. I grew
too.
up on National Geographic before it went completely woke. And I think that this is why I like covering elections so much, is because we get
I
to
love a
look at
good
maps for
interactive
3
map. I love a good
Me
interactive
too.
map.
Oh, just
I've
the
I've
best.
almost hit the ditch before just admiring my GPS in my vehicle.
Oh, it's just the best.
So he is Pictou
Okay.
East. Pictou East. Let's see. Is there going to be a Tim Houston landslide? Come on. Results not available. Don't make me get all conspiracy realist. It looks like the NDP picked up 2 more seats.
Ugh.
That's okay, as long as they take them. That's like again, this is a conservative super duper duper majority in Nova Scotia right now. Now's the time. If you're listening to me, Tim Houston, I doubt that you are, but if by chance you are, now's your time. Act now and act decisively. You have a mandate to do conservative things, and a lot of them. And you also now have the benefit of time. You have 4 years. So do the most drastic things in your first year while you are the most popular, because then you have 3 years for the people to consume it and realize that despite the mainstream media shrieking, the sky did not fall and life is better. So do it now so you have lots of runway for people to experience the drastic changes I hope you make.
Yep. True story. You're getting the permission today, Tim. You're getting the permission today.
Zach Churchill losing.
Nice.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Have they called it, Efron, in other places? Have other people called it? I think they called it like yesterday. The Liberals have picked up another seat. Where are they picking up that seat? Timberley Prospect. Halifax Citadel. Oh. Yeah, let's keep written. They have an independent there. Who's the independent MLA?
So,
Cumberland North. Elizabeth Smith Crossan. Is she one of those people who's like, they're not conservative enough for me? Elizabeth Smith Crossan. Did she get kicked out of the legislature? These are the kind of people who I normally think, if they're an independent and they're winning, it's normally someone who said something a little bit too conservative for the party, like as happened here with our MLA in Ponoka, actually.
Yes. Yeah. Ponoka is our summer home.
We summer in Ponoka.
With 30,000 of the funnest human beings on planet Earth at the Ponoka Rodeo every summer. This is our girls' trip that we go on. Open invitation for you to join us. If you can find us, you can join us.
Oh, you'll find us.
It's sort of impossible not to find us. Oh, it's funny.
Okay, so she, I was right, first elected in the Nova Scotia House of Assembly as a progressive conservative MLA. And then she was reelected in 2021 as an independent. So this will be her second time as an independent.
So that's a super conservative riding.
Yeah. This is, I'm just trying to figure out what got her kicked out.
Yeah.
I don't know, but somebody calls her a reactionary girl boss extraordinaire. She's well known for her history of racist, anti-worker sentiment. You know what? If the left is saying that, I might already like her.
Yeah. Hey, lady, come to Ponoka. You'll have a couple girlfriends when you get there.
Okay, so here we go. She was kicked out for being too conservative. Did you find it? Oh, a reactionary girl boss extraordinaire strikes again. Okay, again, like, so you know what? I already like her. Stop it.
Yeah. She got her mask pulled down. She's like, I'm not going to waste this photo op with this face diaper.
Okay. By the way, if people want that cup, the cup that Elise needs 12 of, matching set for her China hutch, just go to rebelnewsstore.com, use the promo code Sheila10, you'll get 10% off your order. This one, conspiracy theorist / realist. It is to my great dismay that Canada Post is holding the nation hostage, but it'll ship when those people get tired of sitting at home playing, I don't know, Candy Crush. Because I never actually see them striking. I only see like one person out there. They're striking in shifts because why?
Yeah, they do.
Minus 16.
Yeah.
That's why.
With their warming buses.
So Nova Scotia MLA Elizabeth Smith McCrossan was kicked out of the Tory caucus. Why? Efron, bring it up from CBC News. After the border blockade.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So Elizabeth Smith McCrossan, the member of the legislature at the center of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia border blockade, has been kicked out of the Nova Scotia Progressive Conservative Caucus. The more I learned from Elizabeth about her involvement, the more obvious it became that it's not anything that I support or anything that the PC caucus supports. Anyways, let's scroll down. Anyways, here's what they did. Protesters descended on the Trans-Canada Highway on Tuesday in response to new isolation and testing rules for people traveling to Nova Scotia from New Brunswick. So she said, no, you're not treating our neighbors next door like they have
like
Ebola.
They're coming off of like they're coming off of a leper colony.
Right. Like that would be like, no, Lloydminster, your side. You don't get to come unless we swab the interior of your face. The rules were announced by Nova Scotia Premier Ian Rankin. So this is like back before Tim Houston was premier, but she ran for the PCs, won, and then won as an independent. Only hours before the restrictions were expected to be lifted, prompting anger on both sides of the border. So then they complained that, like you're blocking emergency services, but I doubt that happened. Just like at Coots, they let the school buses through, they let the ambulances through. Nobody's blocking an ambulance. Like, give your heads a shake. Like nobody's blocking an ambulance. You see the ambulance, everybody moves. Like, of course, like don't be
Yeah.
crazy. But oh, we've had 110 appointments canceled. Okay, sure. And then there was a big supply chain issue. So this was their protest. They said if you're going to swab people, nobody's coming across. So you know what? I admire that crazy lady. I kind of like that she did that, and then everybody reelected her, and she's going to win again.
This is how you create monsters when out of women. This is how you create monsters out of women. What is our MLA from Ponoka? What's her name? Lacombe? What's her name again?
Oh, shoot. Jennifer Johnson.
Jennifer Johnson. Same.
Came back.
I mean,
yeah.
Was she invited back into the UCP?
Yeah, she just came back. When I was at the convention, she was like a week and a half out of being welcomed back into the fold. And she is the woman who survived that struggle session with the drag queen named Carla Marks, who was like, can't we just agree to disagree? And Carla Marks was like, the hell we can. And then spent like 3 minutes berating Jennifer Johnson. And Jennifer Johnson was like, fine, you do your thing. I'm not agreeing with any of this. And it got international headlines because it was very clearly a man trying to bully a woman for wrongthink.
Yep, that's exactly. If you're not willing to publicly acknowledge right now that trans women are women, then we can't have this conversation. And you haven't done the self-work, and you haven't done, and she just sat there and it was just brilliantly played. But that opened the door. What Jennifer Johnson did was open the door for the rest of us to say, yeah, no, trans women are men, all of them. That's the one thing they all have in common, is all trans women are men, all of them, every single last one, right down to if nothing else, all trans women are men. That's what Jennifer Johnson did for us. Absolutely incredible. Like when we are in Ponoka next year, Sheila, we're going on down to the Safeway. We're buying all the flowers, okay, and we're taking them to her constituency.
We're finally gonna make our way down to the parade this year instead of just watching it go by from the trailer. We'll go down to the parade, and we will go down there with our Jennifer Johnson signs and wait for her to drive by on her float, and we will cheer for her.
That'll be our craft, Sheila, because every year at Ponoka, we also have a group craft that we do. That's what we're going to do. We'll bring like 30 pieces of paper for all of our neighbors, and we'll make like We Love Jennifer Johnson posters for the parade route. That's what we're already planning next summer. I love this for us.
Jennifer, if you're watching, watch for us. Okay, we have a quick ad read from 1775coffee.com. Perfect for your conspiracy realist mug. From rebelnewsstore.com, coupon code Sheila10. Do you enjoy the free speech that Rumble is protecting and fighting for? Our show on Rumble is only possible thanks to our viewers supporting Rumble's platform by purchasing Rumble's products. Most of you drink coffee every day. That's why you have to try Rumble's 1775 coffee. It's actually some of the best coffee, and it's the same price as the coffee you buy now, but it's way better. Rumble's 1775 coffee is free from chemicals, yet rich in flavor and freedom. This is because their beans are sourced from high altitude farms in Bolivia, handpicked and roasted weekly at their facility in Miami, and then delivered fresh to your doorstep. And as believers in freedom, buying from Rumble helps fight back against woke corporations like Starbucks and, surprisingly, Dunkin' Donuts. Join the coffee revolution and brew rebellion with Rumble's 1775 coffee. Go to 1775coffee.com, use coupon code STUDIO, and get a free month's supply of their cognitive boosting supplement, Limitless, when you buy 2 bags of their coffee. Think about that. It's a crazy deal. Then the supplement is worth more than the 2 bags of coffee. So go to 1775coffee.com, try their amazing coffee. If you need a mug for it, again, Conspiracy Realist over at rebelnewsstore.com. Okay. It sounds like the NDP leader who was elected, what's going on? Efron, explain this to me. The NDP leader who was elected, she's elected, Ms. Gender.
Miss Gender, just the worst name. That she's a they them. Wouldn't that be funny if she was a they them?
I just assume that you are if you vote NDP. And was called the premier. Okay, so the NDP leader was elected and has called the premier to concede. Will you think? So that's what we have so far. The Liberal leader has so people are calling on him to concede? Does he think that he can still pull this one out of the fire?
Oh,
I'm not sure.
we're just gonna hold out. We're just gonna hold out till all the boxes are in. We're just gonna hold out till all the boxes are in because
Now,
you never know.
Efron tells me, sorry, that who called the premier to concede. Okay, sorry, called Efron. Damn it, Efron, get your thoughts together before you start typing. He says, sorry, the NDP leader who was elected called the premier to congratulate the premier on their win, which is the same as conceding. I'm sorry, I'm giving you a hard time. You're exactly right. Both are right. You're right both times, Efron. And then they conceded their victory themselves. So you know what? You're exactly right. I'm sorry. And you're working late. You already put in a long day. Now, Efron says, funny enough, and I don't think it's funny. I think it's about right. We have more viewers on Rumble watching this little bitty live stream about an election of about 1 million souls in Nova Scotia than Global does on YouTube right now.
We love you, Rumble. We just love you. How amazing is that?
You know what?
With zero federal government support. P.S. This is all viewer driven. Yeah, 0%. That calls for a little dancey dance.
It's Trump dance.
Little dancey dance. I bet you won't see Trump dancing on Global or CBC or any of the mainstream media. Okay, you know where you're gonna see it? Right here.
Right here. And at the saloon at Pinoca Stampede.
That's right. Oh,
this June and July.
I'm already planning my outfits. True story.
Oh,
I love it that much.
It's the funnest. I can't believe you didn't come sooner. I need to poke back into check the. Do we have any Rumble rants? You guys have anything to say out there that you want us to say on air? Send us a Rumble rant. I need to go back in and check into my election results. Oh, I have literally all the tabs open right now. My computer feels warm. So the NDP are up to 10 seats. Girl Boss is holding her seat. Tim Houston is got 37 seats. The Liberals, looks like the Liberals are going back and forth with the PCs on a seat because it just changed from 36 to 37 and the Liberals went from 3 to 2. What an absolute obliteration. That's like a Kim Campbell style wipeout happening right there.
True story. Look at that map.
Oh. Did it just update again? What is this? I hope that Faye's friend loses, but I doubt. No, it looks like Halifax Citadel is holding orange. What? Which? I forget which. I should really write these things down. This is 36. Elections, Nova Scotia has them at 37 right now and 3-1. I really like this idea that this prickly blockader is like twice now just triumphantly walking into the legislature, looking at the PCs. I hope she gives them finger guns, like does one of these when she walks in. I hope she does. Zach Churchill. He is Yarmouth. That's right. I should know that. Let's look and see what's happening in Yarmouth. That's interesting to me. Yeah, he's getting smoked by Nick Hilton in his own riding. You think he's going to stay on as leader?
Is he allowed to?
Sure he can. Look at Nenshi sits in the gallery and texts his questions into a proxy sitting in the legislature. So I mean,
how embarrassing is that? Like you're in the chair in the corner of the bedroom holding the camera, Nenshi. Like how embarrassing for you. Oh man. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to start doing during our election coverage, just in the moments where we're waiting for the results to come in, is look on realtor.ca in the ridings for house listings, and I found us. Okay, Sheila, I found us a house in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, with 21 bedrooms, 23 bathrooms for the low Canadian
That's a
price.
hotel.
Listen to this. $859,000. We could pool our money, like right now with the people on Rumble. Okay, we could buy a mansion. Oh, can I get it? Can you see it?
Just send it to Efron. Put it.
Okay,
Send it
and
to him on
you
Signal.
put it on? Okay.
Yeah.
We're looking at real estate now because Nova Scotia being a predominantly conservative.
Do you know we can run a bed and breakfast there for half the year?
Girl, could you imagine? I mean, there would be no stopping us. It would just be I'll put it in the group chat.
I can't
it would
believe
be
that.
the best
My
bed and breakfast.
You know what an insult to our Torontonian staff right now who are looking at that thinking that buys me a garden shed. Quite literally. And not even the door for the garden shed in Toronto.
It is an incredible I'm telling you right now, this is an incredible property. Like it has a turret on the side, like a castle turret on the side. It looks like it has an enclosed veranda, which we love for those rainy days. Sheila, you know that we would. It has a red roof, very charming. It's a green building. Oh, this is it's so pretty. I can hardly even stand it. Okay, so the inside we're gonna have to get to painting, but it has some. Oh, look at let's scroll through the photos, shall we? Look at $859,000. We could crowdsource this on Rumble right now. I think that this is what we should do. Just as a group.
An average price of a condo in Toronto is about.
It has wings.
Oh my goodness.
It has wings, you guys. Look at it. How charming. All the wicker furniture. We love a good wicker love seat, me and Sheila.
You know,
we actually have.
Look at this. This, you know, that in the Victorian times, this is where Detective Murdoch would rent a house, rent a part of the house from. Look at this.
Imagine coming down that staircase in our feather robes, Sheila. Okay, our feather robes. Look at that fireplace. Isn't that gorgeous? What is even happening here? $859,000. That we could buy that tonight, you guys.
Average price of a 700 square foot condo in Toronto, $725,000. Look in a human coffin.
Oh my word. What was this? Was it look at all of the old furniture and all the old armoires.
These were probably old, turn of the century apartments, where you just had the room and then you went downstairs for dinner.
Like a bedlet?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Look there's a little library. We'll put all of our books, all of our Rebel books in that little library.
We'll put all of the Ezra Levant authored books there.
Yep. I can see the turret. Now, what are we going to do in the turret?
Karate.
Oh. Trump dance? The Trump dance in the turret? That's right. It's beautiful. Look at it. $859,000. Look at those baseboards, you guys, and the trims on those windows. Chunky, huge. Amazing.
I just want to live somewhere where radiant heat is adequate, because I don't.
Turn
where they have radiators.
Radiator. Yeah, turn up the radiator. Okay, we'll need to paint that room. That's fine though. That's an afternoon. We're transforming the attic.
The attic from Beetlejuice.
Yes, it is, and we're transforming it. We're going to put a toy train set up there. It's going to that's where we put all our toys.
I think we should leave it haunted. Leave it haunted.
We'll have a big trunk of old-timey dress up clothing.
I think we should put scary turn of the century mannequins up there. Dolls.
Oh, I have a doll for that. I do have a doll for that. She's missing one eyeball, but she was my grandma's and I love her, and it frightens everybody that comes into my house. She's going to go right in that corner. Oh, it has an umbrella. Look, it has an old-timey umbrella holder in the middle of the room. It's haunted. that attic is haunted, and it could be ours again, you guys, for the low bargain basement price of $859,000, and literally
I'm not
23
paying
of us could
extra
live
for the
there.
ghosts. Look at that. That's
I
crazy.
mean, it looks
You don't
incredible.
s- you
Oh,
don't
now we're
do
in the basement. Oh,
haunted basement, haunted for sure.
that's where we put the NDP that knock on our doors.
They don't get kicked off the lawn. They get thrown down the stairs.
In the dungeon. They get thrown into the dungeon. Isn't it lovely?
How many movies has this place been in? Like, this feels like it's the set of a movie completely.
If Anne of Green Gables doesn't stumble out of one of those doors in a second, I just don't know what.
Do you know what?
Isn't it lovely?
Some Japanese millionaire will buy that because they love themselves some Anne of Green Gables. Okay, let's look. We've got a few things to check back in. Let's check back on the results real fast, and then I see Yankees posting some things. She hasn't won yet. Wow, don't give me that Elizabeth Smith McCrossin hasn't won yet, because it looks like she's gonna.
That's a
She's at
beautiful
66.
map, Nova Scotia. That is a beautiful map. Oh, the Liberals are about to have a hard 4+ years in Nowhereville.
I am looking forward to the headlines tomorrow.
Me too.
I really am. We've got how many seats, or how many? Let's drill down on Cumberland North. I'm just curious how close Elizabeth is. Elizabeth Smith McCrossin, blockader and freedom fighter. At least she didn't get arrested. I would have loved to have helped her with that. But she is like more than double the PC in her riding. So if you go, it's now Efron at 970 votes for her, with 23 of 39 polls reporting, and the closest to her is the PC at 470. The NDP are there, Tyson Boyd. He hasn't even broken 100 votes yet. So that makes me happy. I like to see people like that win. PCs are at 38.
You know what?
Sorry.
Sorry, just on the Rumble live chat, I just have to say, all of the women are like, oh, I have a creepy doll collection, and are commenting on the trims of the house, and all of the men are saying, it looks like a money pit, and it would cost a fortune to heat.
Do you know what?
Like, so predictable,
no matter what
you guys.
Faye Johnston says, men are men and they're the same all over, and women are women and they are the same all over, because absolutely I know that the men in my life would be like, are you kidding me? Can you imagine the upkeep on that place? Who do you think's cutting the grass?
Who turned up the radiator?
Who
turned up the radiator in bedroom 22? Who did that?
Exactly.
Explain yourselves. Put on a sweater. Put on some socks and a sweater.
The dads of the world in like bedroom number 20 would be able to sense somebody standing too long in the fridge door 30 rooms away. You know
it's
it.
So funny. Oh, it's so
Somebody
funny.
left a light on in the pantry. They'll know. They just know.
This is so funny.
Oh, Elizabeth. Let's where is it? Yarmouth, that's right. I want to just check and see how many Zach Churchill still losing. 31 of 36 polls reporting he is going to lose. And can anybody tell me, Efron, if he has yet conceded? Or is he waiting to be officially not even an MLA anymore?
That would be nice.
I see Doug Ford is congratulating. Let's bring up Ford Nation's tweet. I kind of like that he kept the Ford Nation Twitter handle. That's like the only thing I like about him at this point in the day. But Doug Ford says, congratulations to my friend Premier Tim Houston on tonight's impressive majority election win. I'm looking forward to continuing our work together, standing up for Canadian workers and fighting the Liberal carbon tax to keep costs down for families. Let's make it happen.
Let's
good.
make it happen, Dougie.
I think that was this campaign slogan, maybe?
Let's
Anyway,
make it happen.
make it happen. I think that was what the PC campaign slogan was.
I like that.
I'm
That's
not
a-
against it. It's kind of fun.
Whoever thought of that should get paid extra. A brilliant copywriter / marketing person came up with that, and they should get paid extra. You're welcome.
Kimberly Prospect. Okay, Ian Rankin. So the former leader of the Liberals, Ian Rankin. I think it was is he the former premier? That sounds right. Ian Rankin.
It feels like,
Yeah.
Go on.
Ian Rankin, Nova Scotia. Anyways, let's go. Ian Rankin is winning. Yeah, he served as premier before Tim Houston. And
Okay.
so then they got rid of him in 2022, I think is how it went. And
Look, he's running against 3 women. What a misogynist Ian Rankin is. What a blatant, gross misogynist he is.
somebody should have pointed that out to him because that Liberals care about those sorts of things. I don't. I just, you know, they're the first guys to say, oh, look at those anti-women conservatives. And it's like, I'm pretty sure they're running a woman against you in your riding.
Yeah, that's what they did.
Why did he step down?
Yes, Liberal PM, a fill-in after Stephen McNeil, and he stepped down. This is what Sir Jeremy the Bald on Rumble says. Thank you, Sir
Okay.
Jeremy.
Thank you. Oh, on his first day in office, Rankin announced incentives for the purchase of new and used electric vehicles, as well as energy efficiency support for low-income Nova Scotians. Announced the commitment to get Nova Scotia off coal by 2030, 10 years earlier than previously planned. Oh, I wonder why everything is so expensive in Nova Scotia to live that you could buy a house, a mansion, a Victorian mansion for under $1 million, but then you have to then live there. And good luck affording that.
And
That's
heat
the problem.
it.
And heat it.
Yeah.
And the Environment Department was renamed Environment and Climate Change. In Canada, or sorry, in Alberta, we went the other way. It was like Environment and Climate Change, and we turned it into Parks and Environment. So we took it right
So you
out.
got rid of, you don't do climate change there. Yeah, I don't think we've ever done it here in Saskatchewan. I think it's Sask Environment, and that's it.
I don't even think that we should have parks. Like, just let people into nature. I don't need rules to be in nature. I don't believe in parks. And the parks we do have, the ones the feds are in charge of, they're just burning down. You know, if you let the private sector deal with that, it would have been just fine.
You just let her burn. You know how you reduce the costs of your national parks, so you just let them burn down. And
I don't need some provincial bureaucrat telling me that I have to email you in December to book a camp spot in May. I'm not doing that. I don't believe in that.
You know, Sheila, what was really, really helpful during those Jasper fires were all those rainbow crosswalks that were painted in national parks across Canada. All of the rainbow placards and all of the rainbow permits that you had to. Do you remember? Do you remember when that happened, Sheila? Yeah.
I live next door to Elk Island Park, as everybody knows, like right there. And I like wandered in to renew my parks pass because it's the quickest way to get to Lamont for me. And because you just cut through the park, and everything in there was rainbow. And I'm like, why is the beaver gay? Like, why was the beaver, Birdie Beaver was rainbow? Like the iconic brown and yellow logo of like the late 70s, early 80s, the beaver. It's, you know, exactly the one I'm talking about. They rainbowed it. I was like, I'll renew my parks pass next month. I'm not coming back in here for a while.
if you think about the cost, the absolute cost of doing that at every national park across the nation of Canada, and then the gross ineptitude that it took to let Jasper, the crown jewel of all of Alberta parks, burn to the ground, heads should be rolling. Heads should be rolling, and guess what hasn't happened yet? Hey, how's Randy Boissonneau doing? Randy and the other Randy. What's new with him? I was on the road all day getting my hair colored, so I know no news from today. What happened today?
So Randy, I'm glad you asked. Randy just now, the man is my muse, by the way. I cannot get enough of Pocahontas. I just can't. I can't. I started off with Randy Boissonneau Pocahontas, but then there was that sharing a mailbox with a lady convicted of drug trafficking, or at least implicated in drug trafficking, and then that's when Randy Boissonneau Pocahontas, because he's faking that, became just plain old Pocahontas. Today, Randy just today was finally kicked off the Indigenous procurement list, the federal procurement list. So GHI, Global Health Imports, the company that Randy founded with, that I repeatedly have described Stephen Anderson as the end stage of humanity. If we keep putting plastic in the microwave and do not eat enough meat and spend too much time absorbing blue light off our computers, we are going to end up like Stephen Anderson very quickly. Like, I'm going to say 5,000 years. And that's quickly, as far as like the blink of a geological eye is.
Human evolution goes. Yeah. As far as human evolution goes. Yeah.
He's all lithe and arms.
Thank you. I just need to critique this. Okay, here we have a man with the face so full of Botox. Look at him.
Contour.
Like, he looks alien. He absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. I've seen this sci-fi.
Your eyebrows.
I've seen
your
this
eyebrows.
Sci-fi
It's
where
wild.
the aliens are actually humans from the future. I've seen this movie where they're like, the aliens are visiting us, but they look strange and they're sort of androgynous. He's an alien from the future. He's a human from the future.
Like the large head and a lady's white suit painted. Oh, the Mrs. Roper glasses! Like, and listen,
look, I would wear
I'm not taking a. Oh, so would I. I mean, I have some. Sheila, you've worn my Mrs. Roper glasses that they're pink. Do you remember? And they take up half your face. You wore my Mrs. Roper glasses. On that man with his painted nails, and it doesn't show his booties here, but he's literally wearing $2,500 Christian Louboutin platform booties. I have never seen a more sickening specimen in my entire life than this one right here, and that's the one that Randy Boissonneau, MP from Edmonton, Liberal MP from Edmonton, went. Yeah, that's the one that I want to go into business with.
He seems trustworthy, and seems trustworthy and serious. Let's go into business together. The news today is November 26th. All the way through these scandals with Pocahontas, the getting the sole source contracts from Elections Canada for his company that sells PPE while being a Liberal MP who is imposing mask mandates on Elections Canada. Neat little racket they have here. Give the lockdown, then sell them the lockdown policy equipment.
I think that was just rampant. Yeah.
Identifying as Indigenous for the purposes of procurement. So getting preferential contracts from the federal government. And now he said, oh, I'm Métis. My favorite clip of all time, my all-time favorite clip is Strong Eagle Man. When he says, my Métis name is Strong Eagle Man. I'm known as that in the Cree community. What Cree community? Which one? Give me the one.
Yeah.
And he said it in front of Chief Billy Morin of the Enoch Cree First Nation.
Oh, and that's where we got that's where you got the hat from, Sheila. There's a really great artisan coming from the Enoch First Nation. I actually have it right here. I'm going to show people just to show, because this woman's work is incredible.
Anyway, so yes, I did. That's what I got, at least that. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
So Chief Billy Morin of the Enoch Cree First Nation was there when Randy Boissonneau said this. Now, closing that circle, Chief Billy Morin, you know who he's running for in the next federal election? The Conservatives. So the real Indigenous guy is running for the Conservatives. The fake one is lining his pockets over at procurement and at Elections Canada. Then Randy Boissonneau, it comes to light that he's sharing a physical mailbox with a woman who is implicated in drug trafficking, not once, twice. Then genealogical research shows that Randy Boissonneau, no one in his family's Indigenous, like nobody. And today, just now, finally, after all of these scandals, that's not even talking about the other Randy stuff, the text messages where they're texting Randy and he's on the West Coast, but it's not that Randy, it's some other Randy, but that Randy is also at a caucus retreat in Vancouver at the exact same time. And the ethics commissioner, Frankenstein, he looks like, I forget his name.
Stephen Anderson.
Conrad von Finkenstein, the ethics commissioner, is like, what do you want me to do about it? Investigate? And I'm like, yeah, yes, actually.
He is a classic cartoon villain, that guy, Conrad von what's his face? The ethics commissioner. Yeah. He is like, just to hear him talk and his name and his whole vibe is just such a cartoon villain. Isn't he?
And he basically, and everyone's like, why didn't you investigate him? He's like, I don't know. I don't have to, I guess, if I don't want to. But just today, I just went through all of this to say, just today, the federal government removed Randy from the procurement list. GHI is gone from the procurement list. Oh, but it's only for 90 days.
That is wild.
So on day 91, Randy might be back at the trough with his little nose in there. If people want to sign my petition to fire Randy Boissonneau, my muse Pocahontas, go to firerandy.ca. Should we check in on the elections? Pocahontas. Okay. Ian Rankin won his seat. Okay, we know that.
Sheila, is the audio okay on your end? Because it's really cutting out on mine. And everything just went all pixelated. Is it okay on yours?
Yes, you're good.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah, the feed looks okay. It could have been one too many small, medium, and large sized reads on the internet at the exact same time.
Okay.
We've got the Liberals back up at 3, the NDP with 10. And the PCs at 39. And if I recall correctly, you only need 28 seats for a majority. Efron, of course they did. Unifor is not taking the victory well of Tim Houston. Let's read this and then I'll tell you who Unifor represents and why you should look at everything you read tomorrow through a certain lens. So let's look at Unifor's tweet. CBC, of course, just called the election for Tim Houston. No surprise there. But Unifor says, Unifor will continue to fight for strengthened workers' rights following today's Nova Scotia election, where Tim Houston's PCs won a second majority government. Not just a second majority government, they kicked the daylights out of the left. But Unifor, for those of you who don't know, is the media union in this company or in this country. So tomorrow, when you're reading the headlines about how this is a disaster for workers' rights from journalists claiming to just do straight news, just be aware that this is their union. This is the union that they're in. So
doesn't that make sense now, Canada? Like, doesn't that make sense now, Canada? Why conservative governments get handed it to them every day by the mainstream media in Canada? That's why. That's exactly why.
Yeah. I'm going to read another message from our from a sponsor, and then I don't know, Efron, what do we want to do till somebody gives a speech? Read some chats? I don't know. I'll let you figure it out. We've got about 30 seconds. I want to talk about the things that people are afraid to say out loud. This is particularly chilling this last little bit, as you've seen the mental and physical decline of the President of the United States. Like during the hurricanes, where was he? Was he touring the hurricane sites afterwards? No, he was laying on a beach with his mouth hung open. It was just a remarkable scene to see. Who's in control of America's nukes? It's not Biden. Meanwhile, we have Russian ships off the coast of Florida and full-blown wars in Ukraine and Israel. The world is at its most unstable point since World War II, and with nuclear weapons, the stakes are 10 times higher. How do people like you and I stay safe? Every prepper needs to have RadioGuard ACE, the only FDA-approved drug to treat radioactive fallout. Only the feds had it until now. That's why Rumble partnered with 5G Free, the only company in the world that has a supply of RadioGuard ACE and the ability to prescribe it prophylactically. Gosh, I love saying that word. Get their radiation emergency kit with their RadioGuard ACE, potassium iodide, Zofran, and a Geiger counter. There's simply no other tool in your arsenal to protect against a radioactive threat. Go to 5gfree.com, code STUDIO to save 15% off and get your radiation kit now. All right. Efron says that Peter MacKay, who is a former federal MP, a Harper lieutenant, he was sort of on the red wing of the coalition that became of two parties that became the strong, stable, conservative party of Canada that we know now. And he was a challenger for leadership before and then again. And he is speaking to CBC, it sounds like. Is that it? Efron? Yes, he's being interviewed at the CBC at PCHQ. So maybe we'll show that and I can get a glass of water.
That many Nova Scotians will recognize Peter MacKay, former federal politician, former cabinet minister. You have been a veteran of many, many elections. How would you say this night compares to others that you've seen?
Well, this is a very exciting night. I think it's the first time in probably 40 years that you've seen a back-to-back conservative majority with an increased majority. And Premier Houston and his team worked extremely hard for this victory. It's a resounding victory, one that really speaks to an endorsement for the policies that the Premier's pursued, particularly on healthcare, but many issues that came up during the campaign, environment, of course, and the isthmus specifically between New Brunswick and the province. Taxes are a big issue, and the federal carbon tax, I believe, was one of the drivers that really put wind in the sails of the provincial party. So I think if you're watching this from the Ottawa government vantage point, they should be worried. And I think that this is an election that strengthens the hand of our province and our government to negotiate with Ottawa.
You mentioned, of course, Ottawa, the isthmus. Mr. Houston said that he felt this would strengthen his negotiating position. What would you say would be the next steps that you would watch for Mr. Houston to make?
Well, I think after he names his cabinet and all of his cabinet has been re-elected, he has more to choose from now. I think you're going to see an effort on the part of the Premier and his ministers to engage more confidently with Ottawa on some of these issues. They were being challenged and I would say even dismissed in some cases, which led to the early call on behalf of the government. And so I think you're going to see Nova Scotia in a better position on some of these big issues that they hope to tackle, continuing to improve our healthcare, continuing with infrastructure investments, and lowering taxes, which is something that the Premier has promised, and you're seeing that coming from the federal Conservative Party as well. And I don't want to mix American politics with this night, but you're going to see as well the provinces engage with the federal government on how to deal with the United States of America, and that's very important. Obviously, it's going to impact Canadians, our industry in lumber and steel and fish and many other products. You're going to see now premiers like Tim Houston going to Ottawa and having their voices heard by the federal government.
Certainly something to watch. Thank you very much, Mr. MacKay. Tom, Peter MacKay, former federal politician, back to you.
All right, Shana, thank you.
All right. That was just about perfect. What the hell is going on down here? Someone's rummaging in the freezer? Yeah, I guess so.
Good to see Peter MacKay again.
Yeah, they dusted him off.
Yeah.
Since who did he run against? Andrew Scheer? No, Aaron O'Toole. Aaron O'Toole.
It was somewhere
Yeah.
around Aaron O'Toole. That's who it was. Yeah.
Yes. And he was not exciting enough for a Conservative Party that elected vegetable lasagna, no salt.
That's right.
Aaron O'Toole. Wow, things
Yeah.
have changed.
Thank God.
The Nova Scotia elections, Nova Scotia elected and leading. They have the PCs elected and or leading at 41. Looks like the final results are in 41. I think it could be. These are just they're not quite final. They're still refreshing, but they've got 55 of 55 electoral districts reporting.
Okay.
Liberals 2. So they've lost 12 seats. 12 of their 14, and they finished the last election with 17. So 3 by-elections went to the Conservatives, and now they've lost. So they're down from 17 to 2.
That is a beautiful thing to behold, Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
That is just gorgeous.
And what did the
Oh.
NDP pick? The NDP picked up 5. Yeah, because they had, according to my notes, they had 6 in 2021. So they've picked up 5.
Look at that ugly little clot of orange and red. Looks like a blood clot in the middle of a beautiful, beautiful blue vein, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Ugh.
what is this? Gross. That's the way it is, though, in every major city, isn't it? The progressives, at least they put themselves all in one place. I guess that's okay.
Yeah.
We know where they are.
Yeah.
What is CBC saying? Are they mourning?
Contain the lefties. Contain the lefties geographically and don't let them leave. So
That's fine.
That's a good strategy, you guys. You're making that house in Yarmouth look even better.
Except the house in Yarmouth is where we'd have to live in a Liberal riding. Is that what we want?
Yeah, I would just harass the neighbors at all times with my Trump dancing.
Just put a Trump flag, just a big Trump flag off that little spindle.
Yeah, true story. I put Saskatchewan flags up on all of the little turrets and all. Yeah. We'd have fun in that. Actually, it would be a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like with 34 of 36 polls reporting, Zach Churchill has lost his seat.
Good. So long,
Good.
Zach.
Do we are any of them speaking soon? It's 10 there. This is quick, actually.
Where was Peter MacKay? They had music. It looked like he was at a party.
He was at PCHQ.
Yeah, okay.
He was casually dressed for the event, I find, but that's okay.
Nice little business casual sweater.
Yeah. Let's wander around. I'm going to wander around X. Why don't you do a dramatic reading of some of the Rumble rants?
Of some of the Rumble rants? Okay, hold on. Yeah. We could do that. Let's see.
Okay. Let's see. Congratulations from Daniel Smith already.
That's nice.
Another anti-carbon tax premier sent back. So she says, congratulations to Tim Houston and the Nova Scotia Progressive Conservative Party on earning the trust of voters and being reelected. I look forward to continuing our work together as a strong Conservative voice within the Canadian Confederation. That's nice, Premier Smith. Let's see. Fred Delory. Let's do this thread from Fred Delory. Fred Delory used to be a big mucky muck with the Conservative Party of Canada, particularly under Stephen Harper. He was the former national campaign manager. And apparently he's banned from Russia. So take that for what you will. He said, Efron, can you bring it up? It's a thread from Fred Delory from 58 minutes ago. Okay, Fred Delory. And he's a former campaign manager that delivered Stephen Harper to a majority. So let's see what he has to say. Tim Houston just made history, becoming the first Nova Scotia premier in nearly half a century to increase his majority in a second term. Here's how he did it. Okay, are we listening? Everybody gather around and listen. Gather around, all you little conservative premiers, and let's hear what Uncle Fred has to say. First, let's be clear. This wasn't just a win, it was a landslide at a time when incumbents worldwide are losing ground. We saw that happen in New Brunswick, right? The incumbent never gets reelected there. Tim Houston's Nova Scotia PCs picked up seats, and boy, did they ever. This wasn't the first time Tim Houston defied global trends. In 2021, he was the only opposition leader in Canada to unseat an incumbent during the COVID era.
Huh.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Back then, voters overwhelmingly supported incumbent governments mid-pandemic. Yet Houston's PCs picked up 14 seats and defeated the governing Liberals, a rare feat. Now in 2024, with inflation and high interest rates favoring opposition parties, Tim Houston bucked the trend again and increased his share of the vote and seats. See, make it happen is their slogan. I knew it. I knew I had seen it somewhere.
It's a beautiful slogan, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yep.
The PC's priorities, lower taxes, more doctors, higher wages, spoke directly to the voters. Houston promised action and delivered results. He said, he stood up to Ottawa, defended Nova Scotians against Justin Trudeau's policies like the carbon tax. That clarity and focus resonated.
Tim or Trudeau. That's nice. Yep.
Yeah,
that's also
Tim or
very,
Trudeau.
very good.
You know what? Exactly. Exactly.
Brilliant.
The Liberals, still reeling from 2021, stumbled again. Their slogan, "A better deal," accidentally reinforced Houston's strong leadership. Nova Scotians knew that if anyone could get a better deal for Ottawa, from Ottawa, it was Houston. Yeah, that's
Look at his sad face. Look at his sad puppy eyes. Just wah, wah. That's the face of a tiny wah wah.
Yeah, it is. The NDP will become the official opposition, but their rise was more about the Liberal collapse. That's true. Than a groundswell of NDP support. Yeah, they only picked up 5 seats, and most of the the Liberal support went to the PCs. It didn't bleed left by and large. So Tim Houston's victory is a reminder that authenticity and action matter in politics. He's shown that incumbents, when they focus on the right issues, can still make it happen. Good job tying it all together, Fred. It's true.
Thank you, Fred. Very good little rundown.
Yeah. Are they speaking yet? Like, what are they waiting on? Or they maybe, like, what is wrong? Why won't this Liberal leader concede? Are your earbuds dying?
It's like the sound is just so sketchy. Like it just jumps and then kind of, it's not on your end though. Like you can hear me okay?
No, I hear you fine. Maybe Rumble people, can you tell us if my audio is okay? Because Lisa says my audio is gone for liberalism, and I hear her just fine. So maybe you guys can let us know.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Or if it's just my house with my 8 billion kids on the internet at the same time. Could be that.
Olivia says that I sound fine. We both sound fine. So it could be your earbuds.
Do you think it is? Okay.
Could be. I'll give you a second to figure something out. In the meantime, let's hear from Saskatchewan's Scott Moe on Tim Houston's win. Scott Moe says, "Congratulations to my friend and colleague, Premier Tim Houston, on his impressive and decisive victory in today's Nova Scotia election. I look forward to continuing to work with you on behalf of our 2 provinces and all Canadians." Yeah, it's true. The Conservative premiers are fighting for all Canadians because someone's got to. Justin Trudeau sure isn't. Do we get it sorted? Are you better?
It's still sketchy, but I think it's just on my end. I just
is.
need Starlink. I just need to start demanding Starlink in this house. That's what I have to do right
I
after
have
this.
Starlink and it changed my life. 100%
That's
changed
what
my life.
that's what I hear every single time, and I can get it for the van too, which I love the idea of.
Yeah.
Audio. Oh, here's Xanax on Rumble says audio for me here and there becomes gibberish, but Nisa Lynn says sound good on my end. So she seems like some of us are having technical difficulties.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. Like
we're gonna be fine.
I know what you're saying. I'm just catching every third word.
All
It's all
right.
right.
Let's go back to Nova Scotia's general election. Let's just look at the results. They still have the PCs at 41. What are we still waiting to come in? Honest to goodness, this is crazy. Why are we still? Can someone just declare it, please?
Would somebody please just call this
Just-
damn election? God.
It looks like CBC has called it, but like Tim Houston just goes. I don't know. Just you know what? Just take it. just take the election. Declare yourself the winner. I think they're waiting for the Liberal Party leader to concede, and Zach Churchill thinks that he is going to pull 200 votes out of the remaining 2 polls waiting to report in his riding.
Okay, good luck.
I think
Zach.
that's it.
I'm not going to hold my breath.
Yeah. Total number of votes cast 3,693. 1,852 of those have gone to PC's Nikki Hilton. Nikki Hilton? Nikki Hilton. Wouldn't you know it?
Nikki Hilton. That's Paris's sister.
That's right. The tolerable one. The one that didn't buy a baby. And then
she married a Rothschild though, hey? A Rothschild. That means she has several umpteen quadrillion dollars now, Nikki Hilton. Yes.
Yeah.
She married better than her sister. So eat
Yeah.
it, Paris. Eat it.
But like Zach Churchill is trailing by, I don't know, 180 votes or something. And there's 2 polls left to report. Just come on. That's what we're waiting on. We're hostage to a Liberal once again.
Yeah. God, good thing we're so great at it. We're expert level at waiting them out, though. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Francois Legault in Quebec also sends a very brief congratulation. Not at all. And of course, the first thing he said, he sent it first in French to an English-speaking premier because French supremacy. And then he says, congratulations to Tim Houston on his re-election as Premier of Nova Scotia. Glad to continue our collaboration. Like, just compare that to the statements of Doug Ford, Premier Smith, Scott Moe, and then it's like, why don't you just send him a thumbs up emoji? You know, like,
fine.
Good. Let's cut to the CBC. They're airing the NDP leader who is misgender right now.
Where the leader would come in, the room wasn't that full, wasn't that many people. That looks like a good, healthy crowd.
Wasn't
tonight.
that full?
As she makes her way to the microphone, let's listen in to see what she has to say. Claudia Chender, official leader of the opposition here in Nova Scotia.
Misgender.
Misgender.
Good evening, everyone. Wow, I could hear you, and now I am so glad to be with you. Thank you so much. I want to thank our amazing team of candidates, campaign workers, and volunteers, and thank you to all of you. We did this tonight.
No, the Liberals did this to themselves.
And a huge congratulations to our
Sounds exactly like
new
Susan Holt.
caucus.
Yeah. Yes.
Susan LeBlanc. Susie Hansen. Lisa LaChance. Let's cheer for Kendra so she can hear us in Cape Breton. And Krista Gallagher, where are you, Krista?
All women?
And there are more to come, including, I'm told, Paul Wozni of Sackville Cobequid. It's about time we got Sackville back. I want to give a special thank you to the people of Dartmouth South, and I know you're out there, for putting faith in me again to be your MLA. It is truly an honor to serve the community, and I am so excited to get back to Dartmouth. Thank you to my family, to Molly and Anna and Sam, and to my husband, Jamie, and my mom. I truly could not have done this without them. And thank you to all the campaign spouses and families and communities and supporters. True story, I ran into Susan LeBlanc's partner pulling boat on my street at 7:45 this morning when I was walking my dog. And thank you to Nova Scotians across this province for putting your faith in our amazing team. I have spoken to Tim and to Zach, and I've congratulated them on their campaigns. And while we had hoped for a different result tonight, make no mistake, our vision for a different kind of government has struck a nerve. And I am here to tell you that the Nova Scotia NDP is on the rise. People across this province, including, I'm guessing, most of you, cast their vote for a government that actually cares about all Nova Scotians. One that is more honest, more responsible to you, the people we serve. Our campaign was one of positivity and possibility for all of us. Our vision, a government that would protect renters, build affordable housing, and ensure that Nova Scotians can actually find homes that they can afford, is possible. A province where Nova Scotians have consistent primary care is possible. And we will not stop until it is real. Because tonight we've made it clear that the Nova Scotia NDP, that our incredible team is the alternative. Tonight, our incredibly effective opposition has grown, and we are now the official opposition. I am very proud to be the first woman elected as leader of the official opposition. But in this, as in all things, including when I was the first woman House leader and every other job I've had and that we have had and where we have been first, in this we stand on the shoulder of giants. And one giant in particular, and I think it's really important to say that without Alexa McDonough, we would not be here tonight. And our caucus will be there. We will show up to work next week and every day to work towards better, to fight for you, and to hold Tim Houston and his giant band of MLAs to account.
His enormous victory. Good luck.
My friends, while today marks the end of this election, it marks the beginning of the next one. And after 3 years, we know what we are getting from the Conservatives. Broken promises and backroom deals, and not a lot for the rest of us. And Tim Houston got away with it when the Liberals were in opposition. But that ends today. We will continue to fight for homes that people can actually afford. That's worth applause. For healthcare that you can actually rely on, and for a government that puts you first. Today is the beginning. Tomorrow we get back to work, and tonight, now, we celebrate. Thank you very much.
There you go, NDP leader.
Oh, she sounds so much like Kamala and acts so much like Kamala. And I couldn't help but notice that both Miss Gender and Zach Johnstone said the same thing. They said, I stand on the shoulders of giants. So here they are, just repeating the same speaking points, being pathetic losers. And man, the NDP just, so annoying, just so annoying.
Well,
people in the Rumble chat are like, I had to mute.
As she was talking, the NDP dropped a seat.
Did they?
Yeah, it went down to 9 on the ticker right under her face, which makes me kind of happy. Gives me a little Trump dancey in my pants. We've got a Yankee in our work Slack. He's like, please clap. like at the end when they're like, please clap. CBC is currently preparing for Tim Houston to come on. So while they're preparing for that, I've got another ad read that I need to do before we go into that. Hopefully Starlink holds up for me. Seems like I'm getting a little pixelated. With President Trump's historic victory, I need to ask parents to please listen up. Now that President Trump is headed back to the White House, he said he wants to teach our kids to love America. And the best place for them to start is to learn all about President Trump and his vision for America in his second term. That's why Mike Huckabee's team put together the Kids Guide to President Trump. And to celebrate President Trump's victory, they're giving it away for free with fun illustrations and easy to follow content. This important guide teaches kids all about President Trump's accomplishments during his first term, and it helps kids understand his goals for his second term. This is such a wonderful thing to do because your kids are being brainwashed in the education system. They're being told orange man bad. Mike Huckabee wants to send your family this free guide so you can teach your kids the truth. But please hurry because supplies are limited. To claim your free Kids Guide to President Trump right now, just visit kidstrumpguide.com. That's kidstrumpguide.com. Efron, is Tim Houston coming? Is he having a little drinky poo? Okay. What, Lise, maybe you can tell us, what were some of the reactions to the NDP leader, Ms. Gender's speech?
Her name is Ms. Gender, and we all agree, okay, this is unanimous on Rumble, that she is Kamala's Canadian twin. We have a Kamala light
the
NDP leader, yes, and just like the inflections and the hand movements, which I was trying to mirror.
This Kamala does this.
People had to put her on mute. People had to put her on mute her face. her face.
Mute.
Yeah. The new Conservative government might want to invest in some really nice, tiny noise canceling headphones like I have right here for when she stands up to speak in their legislature in Nova Scotia. Yeah, she sounds like a DEI hire. Let's see. She's a tad bit dingy, had to mute. Is she Kamala's twin? I mean, blur, yeah, giving me Kamala vibes, cringe. I mean, yeah, this is great. You guys you hit it right on the head. Yeah. Saying exactly what I was thinking the whole time. Got insufferable, a little bit insufferable. I wouldn't want to listen to her for an extended period of time.
Right. And, like, what is she going to say? This is kind of she has to play it as a victory. Like, as I'm listening to her, I'm thinking self-awareness is not your strong point, but I think she probably really does actually realize that this is not a victory for the NDP. The NDP are not surging. The Liberal Party collapsed like a dying star onto itself. And that's why they are wobbling back and forth between 9 seats and 10 seats, because there's a seat going back and forth between the Liberals and the NDP.
That's right.
Liberals collapsed. The majority of that support went to Tim Houston. It did not go to the NDP. Some of it did because there are people who are just, they'd rather be tribalist progressives than worry about how to pay the bills. Government workers being, a prime example of that. Entrenched government workers, don't send me letters. I know there are a lot of good people in the bureaucracy grinding it out in the machine. On our behalf, and I appreciate you for that. But you also are fully aware that your bureaucratic brothers and sisters are progressive zombies a lot of the times, and like that's what's happening here. It's not the NDP surging by any means. Picking up 3, maybe 4 seats, it's not a surge. That's
not a confidence building mandate right there for her, for Miss Gender. Yeah, 9 seats. 9 seats when you picked him up from Liberals. No, that's not a win. You're the first runner up at the beauty competition, at the beauty pageant, Miss Gender. Miss Gender picked up first runner up at the beauty pageant.
Runner up is also first loser.
That's right.
Let us never forget, you are the first loser.
Yeah. And listen, if you're going to drag your kids to a political event, maybe dress them in something that's not midriff bearing. Just saying. I love doing these crowd shots. Oh, look at all of her stickers on the phone. Like, what are you, 10?
I do appreciate the fact that NDP crowd is carefully staged, right? Like, everything is staged at these events for the crowd shot. And that's what they put up front was the baby t-shirt, 14-year-old, 12-year-old, jumping up and down, and all those surly women. Here's Tim Houston making his way to the stage. Got some silver fox hair there.
Let's see.
Tim in Canada have not had nights like this in recent years, have they?
It's been a rare thing to see.
Let's
for
listen
sure.
to
He's a
CBC, the CBC funeral.
In this election, sort of the post-COVID election, where he added seats, added vote share. I mean, smashingly added vote shares and smashingly added seats.
I heard someone describe it as they still had that new car smell.
Absolutely, and the fixed election date, he swore to that when he was first elected. The premier said he would adhere to that. Did not, but
he's not paying the price for it tonight.
He's not paying the price tonight at all. Nova Scotians are rewarding him.
They're trying to find something bad in this.
A massive majority, and he's in a big crowded room there tonight. It's going to take him a while to get to the stage, but he said he needed that new mandate to do bigger things for Nova Scotia. To make it happen was the slogan we heard throughout the campaign.
He says they certainly do have their work cut out ahead of them.
He does. I mean, he is talking. He has a meeting tomorrow. Premier's meeting with the Prime Minister tomorrow to talk about trade tariffs, and so big issues on the board for sure. And he says he's going to have a better voice or be more able to stand up to Ottawa on behalf of Nova Scotians with a mandate and with 43 leading in elected seats.
But he's still dealing with healthcare, all the issues that he campaigned on. So there's a long list of things he has to accomplish in his second mandate, and he said that's what he needed to get the job done.
Second mandate's
big, yeah, and there are a lot of challenges, and maybe we'll talk about them a little bit later tonight. But right now, tonight is not so much a night for him to worry about challenges. It is to celebrate. Right now, he has 12 more seats than we did. There we see him giving a hug to former Pictou Centre MLA and Cabinet Minister Pat Dunn, who retired and did not reoffer in this election, although the party held that seat. And, it's difficult, him imagining a much better scenario for him this evening.
Do you know, we have had a night of incredible highs and incredible lows in politics. They have both been on display. You're looking right now at a party on an incredible high. And when you look at that Liberal seat count, you are looking at a party that is on an incredible low.
Very lopsided on the board tonight.
That is for sure. Tim Houston there with his wife, Carol, at the edge of the stage now. I'm preparing to speak to his supporters there, and there are plenty of them in the room.
It's hard for him to get through the room with all the hugs and congratulations.
That's for sure, yeah. And he's quite all right with that. You can be sure of that. It's been a remarkable night, really, for the PC party in Nova Scotia. Paul says mission accomplished, probably even beyond that. I mean, this is beyond the expectations of a lot of the people who were saying that it would be a PC win tonight, but few felt it would be this big. All right, so there he is, Premier Tim Houston at the microphone, ready to address the people in Pictou County at the Wellness Center there. Let's listen in to what he has to say.
Well, good evening.
Kids are nice.
Thank you so much, each and every one of you. This has been an incredible
that.
night. Thank you for being here
Nice
to share it with each of us. Thank you to Cam and Tara. What an incredible campaign you ran. Thank you so much. And to the entire team in the central campaign office. Wow, the hours. You go in there at 8 o'clock in the morning. They're there 8 p.m. They were there. We worked. We were dedicated. Thank you for your efforts, for everything that you did for us. And of course, thank you to the good people of Pictou East. Thank you for continuing to believe in me. Thank you. Thank you for continuing to believe in me and my family. I love our community. I love how supportive you are of me and my entire family. I just love it. Your kindness means an incredible amount to me, to my entire family, and I look forward to continuing to serve you for 4 more years. And thank you to my incredible team in the Pictou East campaign and the constituency office. Many of you have dedicated your lives to supporting me. I can't thank you enough. Thank you. We love you. For sure. Thank you to all of the volunteers on every single campaign across the province. Nobody gets elected alone. Nobody gets elected alone. I certainly did not get elected alone, that's for sure. My mom and my sister are here. Love you guys. Of course, my dad and my brother, I hold them close to me. They're never far from my heart. My Art and Vern, my in-laws, we love you guys. Thank you for everything you do for our family. Paget and Zachary, you guys were kids when we started on this, and now look at them now, adults with their own careers, their own opinions. We love you guys. We're so proud of you. And Carol, my lovely wife, what a journey. What an incredible journey. None of this would be possible with you. None of it would be possible without my family. So thank you so much. I know this hasn't been politics, not an easy profession. I know it's not easy on my family and the families of candidates across this province. So thank you for being so supportive to get us here where we are today. From the bottom of my heart, thank you to everyone in this room. It's the greatest honor of my life to take this stage tonight and serve every Nova Scotian as their premier for 4 more years. So much is possible for this province. So much is possible for this province. And I promise you, I will do everything I can to make it happen for this province, make it happen for you and for your family. I will give you everything I have. Thank you to every Nova Scotian that exercised their right to vote. And I want to thank Nova Scotians for putting their faith in the PC party and re-electing an even larger PC majority government in this province. Thank you. This victory is for each and every one of you. It's as much for the gentleman in Yarmouth who said, I'm voting for you when he opened the door. He said, I'm voting for you because that extra $100 a month that I get under your government means the world to me. That's a big difference in my life, he said. So I'm voting for you because of that. He actually tracked me down a bit later in the pouring rain. He came chasing after me in the pouring rain with his phone. And he said, my sister's on the phone. She doesn't believe I actually spoke to the Premier. Will you talk to her? This victory is for him and his sister and their whole family. And it's as much for them as it is for the gentleman in a building in Bedford who opened up the door, took one look at me and said, go away. NDP, he said. We had a little chat. When I left that apartment building, because it's still Nova Scotia, and because we're all still Blue Nosers, when I left that building a half hour later, he and his wife were standing in the lobby. And I wouldn't say she had him by the ear, but let me say I accepted his apology. Folks, this victory is for both of them, because as their Premier, I will support them equally. We thank you. We traveled across this province from one end of this province and stood on, literally personally, I stood on thousands of doorsteps across this province, across our entire campaign. It's well into the hundreds of thousands of doorsteps that we stood on and listened to Nova Scotians and talked to Nova Scotians and sat at kitchen tables and sat inside porches and just talked about our province. And we shared a message with them. A message of positivity and potential. And tonight, they have sent us a message. And I received that message loud and clear. And that message is very simple. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going with the plan. Keep moving forward with the plan. And I want Nova Scotians to know, we will. We will. This victory is as much for the grade 4 student that stood in his driveway with his mom and told me how thankful he is for the school lunch program because he can have lunch with all of his classmates. It's as much because we did that. Together we did that. The PC party did that. It's as much for that grade 4 student as it is for their classmate who told me the food is gross. And you know what? It might be, but we're working on that. Folks, what we do in government matters. It matters. It matters to me, it matters to you, and it matters to every single Nova Scotian. So I thank Nova Scotians for putting their trust in us tonight. And I thank Claudia and Zach for putting their names forward and running spirited campaigns. I thank every single person, no matter the party, who had the courage to put their name forward on a ballot. It takes a lot of courage, and I have great respect for every person who puts their name forward. So I thank them for putting their name forward. And I especially want to thank our incredible slate of PC candidates. We assembled an incredible slate of candidates, serious candidates in every single constituency. And I want to say thank you to my 54 fellow Nova Scotia PC candidates. I was proud to stand beside them. I am proud of the campaigns they ran, and every one of them has a great reason to be proud. And I know some of them will be disappointed right now. And I share in that disappointment because I know the effort that they put forward. But I'm proud of that effort, and I thank them for having the courage to put their name forward. This province was built on hard work. It's all we know. It's all I know. It's what I was taught growing up. And every day that I have the privilege to serve you as your premier, I commit to work harder and harder and harder every single day. And my entire team buys into a very simple motto: more, faster. More, faster. Do more and go faster. And as I crisscrossed Nova Scotia, I was energized to see the local candidates working harder and harder and harder on every doorstep, doing their part to make it happen. And it is humbling to see the candidates, but the campaign volunteers, and every single one of you put your lives on hold and put faith in your candidate. But as leader, I feel it, to put your faith in me. And it means an incredible amount. And on behalf of all of us from the PC team and all of our campaign volunteers, I just want to say thank you. Tonight, Nova Scotians made a choice, and they chose our team to take Nova Scotia forward. We ran on a platform of make it happen, and I heard somebody. And as I walked in tonight, somebody said, well, you made it happen. And I want to say, yes, we did. But this is just obviously the start of the next phase of the Nova Scotia journey. Make it happen was never meant just to be about winning another mandate. Make it happen is about what we do with that mandate. And I want to tell you and your family that we will make a lot happen with this mandate, because that's what you have a right to expect. You and your family are counting on us to stand up for you, and we will. Whether that means standing up for veterans so they can wear their uniform wherever they want, whenever they want, with pride, and especially to a Remembrance Day service in Nova Scotia.
Right on.
We will stand up for the veterans of this province, whether it means standing up to the federal government when they try to rip Nova Scotians off with funding on the isthmus or a carbon tax that doesn't make sense. I will never let Ottawa take advantage of us without hearing from us. And I think the message that Nova Scotians delivered loud and clear tonight, the message that Nova Scotians delivered loud and clear, and the message that I received: stick to one agenda. And we have one agenda, and that's you, Nova Scotians. That's where our focus will always be. My promise to you is I will give you every single thing I have. I am going to work hard to do more and go faster. And I will always, every single day, be proud to be Nova Scotian, just like you are. And I will never apologize for standing up for Nova Scotia or for standing up for you. Thank you to the Nova Scotians out there tonight listening. Thank you. We're on a good roll. Let's keep it rolling. Let's make it happen. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
That is Premier Tim Houston.
That was a great speech. I enjoyed
That was
that
a
immensely.
lovely speech. Look at his, and everybody in the Rumble comments is commenting on how lovely his family looks. No purple hair, no blue hair, thoroughly normal wife. Yeah, everybody seems to love this guy.
That's a perfectly fine politician's wife right there, and some good-looking political kids. God, our side of the aisle does that right. And then you like show Kamala Harris's kid, and you're like, boy, or stepkid. You're like, what level? What? That's the final boss of Starbucks baristas.
Exactly that, Sheila. Exactly
Yeah.
that. Yep. Yep.
He had that sideways sort of throwaway comment about veterans wearing their uniforms during Remembrance Day ceremonies. And I just want to stop and pay homage to a principal at a school who was so idiotic that the premier made what he did a campaign talking point. So Nova Scotia principal, deeply sorry after requesting that veterans don't wear their uniforms on Remembrance Day. It drew ire and outrage across the country, and this was distributed to parents. So parents who are active or retired military could not either wear their uniforms for Remembrance Day. Well, I mean, why even tell the kids what Remembrance Day is all about? Let's just cut the military right out of it. It was bad idea, Jeans. I'm happy it was reversed, but when it becomes a campaign talking point for a political party, you've really stepped in it, and he did.
You know, it's really good to know, though, that the crazy woke leftists that are infesting education in Western Canada are also infesting education in Eastern Canada. At least we're all in the infestation together. It'll be all the more glory. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's the same as you and I thinking, oh, let's turn that mansion into a bed and breakfast, and then the husband saying, I have to heat that thing. You want me to do maintenance on it? You want me to paint the siding on that thing? You know how much I have to paint the siding on that thing and whitewash that thing? It's the same thing. Some things are the same all over. Education is infested with crazy people.
It's true. It's true. And that attic isn't even insulated. All the men said.
Could you imagine the raccoons?
God. Oh, that was a lovely speech, though. That was a really lovely speech. Yeah.
I think Efron and I have landed on that we're going to go till 8 Mountain. That's 12 more minutes. And if Zach Churchill has not conceded then we're going to wrap it up, because what a disgrace that he has not. And we'll just leave him to obscurity forever. I mean, he's got 2 seats, but I thought I'll go to Zach Churchill's X account and see what this guy has been up to lately. And a couple of things, 3 things stuck out to me. First of all, he hasn't even paid to have his account verified so that he doesn't show up high in the search algorithms. Like he doesn't. And that's ridiculous, especially when he is the leader of the Liberals. And he's been on X since May of 2020. This is where the media lives. Like he's not even trying at this point. Then if we scroll down,
costs like $8, dude.
Yeah,
costs like $8.
Look at his engagement. Okay, that's been his pinned tweet forever. So let's not look at this one. Election day engagement. Scroll. 8 retweets.
Wow.
Like it's nothing. It's like he just had no momentum. 2, nothing. 32. Just nobody gave a damn about what he was saying. He had no momentum, no engagement. This is just me looking at his X account, but I mean, that's where you get traction if you want the media to see what you're saying. Like this is his video. How many tweets does he have on retweets on his video? 17. Danielle Smith could just type a typo. Like she could put anything there, just a random, like mush the keyboard and tweet
coffee
it.
Fee. Remember when Trump took his coffee fee?
Yeah. Danielle Smith could just mash the keyboard and get 1,000 retweets. And this guy hasn't even verified his account. And then I was like, okay, let's do a social media examination of this, because I'm not a social media maven, but I've been around on the interwebs for a little while. And you can tell some things by someone's social media. I started looking at his media page, and I scrolled back as far as I cared to. I didn't put a lot of effort into it, but what I did notice is that he has neither received support from the federal Liberals nor does he seem to have wanted it. So he's not retweeting Justin Trudeau like you see Liberal leaders across the country. They'll retweet Justin Trudeau. None of that. The federal party didn't come and help him. Not that he would have wanted it, I don't think, because this election is a rejection of Justin Trudeau. So you wouldn't want his
100%.
smiling mug at the door with you. But
100%.
that's very telling. I'm not sure what it tells. I just think that he didn't stand a hope in hell tonight. Not that I'm sad about it, but he didn't have any federal help from the party, and I don't think it would have done him any good anyway.
Yeah, this is an indictment of the Liberal Party of Canada, because they've watched their brand absolutely sink to depths that were unthinkable, even in 2020, 2021. I think it was still salvageable, but in 2024, the Liberal brand, the Liberal Party brand in Canada is an absolute dead lame duck. I mean, the duck has been plucked. That is how done the Liberal Party brand is in Canada, and we're seeing it here today. I can't wait to see this replicated on the federal level, though. We have to start planning for election night federally in Canada, Sheila. Like, we have to meet in Lloydminster. Okay, we have to do it, and because I can't wait for this kind of energy to overtake the entire nation of Canada. It's going to be
What
the
if we're
best
at
day of our
election?
lives.
I feel like I might be at the Conservative HQ. At least Ezra will be at Conservative HQ.
Are you?
I don't know. It's a year from now. Who the hell knows what I'm going to do? But I'm sure that there will be rebels in election HQ somewhere. I wonder if I could go to Jagmeet Singh's.
Oh,
Wouldn't that be
that
fun?
would be fun. Just take a whole bale of Kleenex. Here you go, tissue. You're just a tissue. Be helpful.
Okay, the Liberal leader is he giving a speech right now? Can we go to it?
Oh, getting hugs. Yeah. And then my very, very favorite Rocky Mountain Duke left us $5 as a rebel rant. So we're going to read that after we hear from this guy. Hold on.
Yes. Let's hear from this man
waiting
who.
for me tonight. I really appreciate
Thanks
it.
for
Is this
waiting
on?
for me. No, but
Listen, folks,
the
this wasn't the
enthusiasm is so
result
low. He didn't
that,
know his mic
that
was
we
not.
wanted, as a party. But I'll tell you, we left it all on the ice out there. We fought hard. And I have to say, I'm so proud of the candidates across this province that stood for office, that really stepped up, showed an incredible amount of bravery and tenacity, people who just really care about their communities and want to help their province. And I'm so sorry that I couldn't get this over the line for them.
2 seats.
But
I think is he going to
But hey,
concede his seat?
it happens. And,
Shit happens.
sometimes you lose. But I'm really
Sometimes you
proud of the
get
campaign
smoked.
that we ran. It was built on ideas, on policies, and that's what we kept it about the whole way through. It wasn't about personal attacks. It wasn't about mudslinging. It was about ideas that can really help people. And I think that really matters, because that's when democracy works the best, folks. That's when it works the best, and that's when we get the best out of it. I want to congratulate Premier Houston. I want to congratulate Ms. Gender. They ran incredible campaigns, and
Ms.
the people
Gender.
of Nova Scotia have certainly decided who they want to lead this province. And we respect the voters' decisions and accept with humility in our hearts and with peace in our hearts what they've decided tonight. And that's our job now. And I know a lot of people will have a lot of theories on why this happened. But at the end of the day, this was my responsibility. And this loss belongs to me and me alone. And I'm okay with that. But we've got to move forward as a party and as a community. I really want to thank our local campaign team, family, friends, the staff that came down here that have fought so hard, not just this election, but for the last 14 years as I represented this area. It's been an incredible journey, honestly. It's been such a rewarding job. In the honor of my life to serve the people of Yarmouth, to represent them in the capacity as MLA, and to be the first party leader from Yarmouth as well. I'm just sorry I couldn't be the first premier from Yarmouth. We'll have to wait another time for that. But I do, my kids are sleeping because it's late, but I do hope that they can hear this someday, is, you know, loss is a part of life. Cece's still awake. Loss happens. Sometimes you lose. You get knocked down, and the most important thing is getting back up and how you get back up. And I want my kids to know that. I want the party to know that, and all of you who fought so hard on this campaign to know that. We've got knocked down, but we will get back up. A real special thank you to my mother and my family and everybody who fought so hard here every single day of this campaign while I was out across this whole province. My God, I'm so lucky to have the love of my family and the support of my family in my life. It really means the world to me. And I may just be at more Sunday dinners now as a result of tonight. My incredible wife, Katie, the real love of my life. The best decision I ever made was asking that wonderful woman to marry me. And I couldn't have done any of this without you, honey. And listen, sometimes even when you lose, you win. And well, tonight we suffered a big loss, and that's a burden that I certainly will carry with me for a long time. I think we're just going to win some more time together. And whatever happens next, honey, I'm excited to
You're not excited.
enter into this next phase of this incredible adventure of life with you, whatever that looks like. I love you so much. And I'm so proud to be your husband. I don't know if the final numbers are in yet for our local campaign. Does anybody know? We're still close, so we're going to wait around and see what those are. But I want to congratulate Nick Hilton and his campaign team on running a really strong race here. And if they win tonight, I'll be the first to go down there and congratulate them. And I encourage everybody else to do that. This has been an absolute honor, folks. It's been an honor leading this party. It has been an honor representing this area. And certainly I will be taking some time once we know what the final tally is tonight to discuss my future, of course, with my family, with the local association, with the party, and with those that are remaining in our caucus. And we'll certainly inform folks on what that decision is later on. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for the incredible support over these 14 years. And to the people of Nova Scotia, thank you for this incredible honor of being able to serve as the official opposition leader. And again, I want to congratulate the Premier and Claudia Chandra on their big wins tonight. Thank you.
That's Liberal leader Zach.
You know, now would be a good time for Zach to announce that he's going to go into real estate and he's going to be the listing agent for that house we're buying in Yarmouth.
You know, he had absolutely nothing prepared whatsoever. Nope. He's known he's been losing for a very long time. I think he sort of caught flat-footed because I think he thought he could pull out a win in his own riding, which is why he's hanging on. But there's 200 votes between them, and there's only 2 polls left to report. Oh. He lost a riding that has been a Liberal riding it's been a Liberal stronghold for 14 years. And he just turfed it over to the PCs, I think, if those results hold. But is he high? Like, and I mean that in not like, I'm not making fun of him.
Like, not in a rhetorical sense. Yeah.
I don't mean like, oh my God, are you high? Like, what's wrong with you? No, I think just his mouth was cottony and he had nothing prepared and he was sort of slow with his speeches, like his tongue was a little too big for his mouth. I don't know. I think he's not, as Yankee says, he's not with us tonight. Like, that was odd. That was odd, but I actually don't dislike him. Like, he's a Liberal, so I think I would probably disagree with him on 100% of everything. But I find him to be more likable than the misgender, the female Kamala, or the Kamala, I guess, is female, but just like Canada's Kamala.
I agree. I absolutely agree. He was more palatable as a human than Miss Gender was, who was absolutely Canadian Kamala Light. That's what she is. And before we get too carried away, I need to read Rocky Mountain Duke's comment on our Rumble
Okay,
rant.
but I have one more comment to make because I wrote it down. I wrote it down as he said it. My comment as I was making notes was Chumbawamba ? Did he quote Chumbawamba? We get knocked down, but we get up again.
Get up again. Yes,
you're never gonna keep me down. I was like, that's when I was like, wait, Sheila, that's high guy talk. Like, you just don't off the cuff quote Chumbawamba. You have to be high normally to do it. And that's what I was like, oh, that explains the like his mouth and his tongue a little bit too big and his slow affect and just pointing over there and thinking everything is cool and we're gonna be all right. Chumbawamba. He quoted Chumbawamba, I believe. I think I heard that properly.
he did indeed quote Chumbawamba. That was on Big Shiny Tunes. Tape number 11 back in if I had to guess, it was like 1998, if memory serves. 1998.
Right. And it was Chumbawamba. Even though we think the song is called I Get Knocked Down, it's actually called Tub Thumping.
Yes,
I recall.
Yes, it is. It was like the top #1 song of 1998 or whatever year it was.
It sure made you jump up and down at the bar. That's for sure.
It was a banger at the bar. And then you're like, I can't wait for the next thing that Chumbawamba does. And then it never came. They were one of the great one-hit wonders of 1990s club music. The interesting fact about Chumbawamba, they were a completely socialist band and they paid their tour manager the same as their gripper. And they went on one tour and they couldn't keep a tour manager and they had 800 grippers and it was the worst tour on planet Earth, and that's what happened. Yeah, that's what happens when you bring communism into music.
Where the rubber meets the road. Everybody's a commie till they have to pay everybody the same. I know that we have a chat and we want to acknowledge it before we wrap up and let you sign off, and I'll see you in a couple of days.
Okay, this is from Rocky Mountain Duke. He says, thanks for another great election stream, Sheila and Lise. I don't know if I can forgive you for subjecting us to the Faye Johnstone clip, but appreciate the work all you and Rebel News does. Thank you so much, Rocky Mountain Duke. Thanks for being here with us, you guys. We have viewers from Australia and from the United States, and we just want to thank you so much for joining us here tonight for our election coverage for the Nova Scotia election.
Whoa. We've got something over here. Just Yankee. Is this Yankee that found this? Okay. So let's put this up. Is this an NDP candidate? Oh, Liberal. Okay, put this up. We've got another Pocahontas on our hands. Wasaya Métis Society. If I butchered that, I'm very sorry, but I'm not Métis, so I'm not good at reading these things. Issues a statement distancing themselves from Liberal candidate Madison Fleischer, who claimed to be Métis. This is in British Columbia. So recently, Madison Fleischer, a candidate in the upcoming by-election for the riding of Cloverdale. This is a federal candidate. Cloverdale Langley City has publicly claimed Métis identity after meeting with her on November 23rd to discuss these claims. We were disappointed that she could not provide any evidence to support her Métis heritage. In the meeting, Madison was unable to substantiate her claims with any documentation or historical connections to Métis communities. Wasaya Métis Society wishes to distance itself from Madison's claims of Métis identity. We ask that Madison take the necessary steps to properly research and verify her Indigenous heritage before making any further assertions. She's trying to get on the Indigenous caucus with Randy Boissonneau. The integrity of Métis identity is not to be taken lightly, especially in public office, where the representation of our community must be accurate, respectful, and legitimate. I completely agree. Now do women.
I can't believe that this is a thing that we have to be doing and that this isn't inherently known by people that run for public office. Like, you think that they're not going to look into you, Blue Eyes? You think they're not going to look into you, Blue Eyes? All right, Bluffy St. Marie's.
Bluffy
God's the
St.
garbage,
Marie.
the lot of you.
Oh,
Hey,
gosh.
fun fact, Buffy St. Marie developed the Cree language curriculum for the government of Saskatchewan in corroboration with the Saskatchewan NDP back in the 70s. Anyway, enjoy that fun fact. Hey, can I just read one more
Please.
comment before we go from
Yeah.
the Rumble Rant? Okay, this is from Deprived Canadian. I'm going to read it with all of the seriousness it deserves. Pissing the night away. Pissing the night away. He drinks a whiskey drink. He drinks a vodka drink. He drinks a lager drink. He drinks a cider drink. I really thank you, Deprived Canadian. That's the song.
You know what?
If you know it, you know it.
I would have been glued to the TV screen if the Liberal leader just kept going with that. I would have been like, you know what? Give him that seat. He's fighting for the seat. Just give it to him for that. He deserves it.
You get knocked down, but you get up again.
Get up again. You're never going to keep him down. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Drink a whiskey drink.
Drink a cider drink.
Oh, just the best. You drink a vodka drink? Drink a cider drink. Oh, thank you, Deprived Canadian. We needed that little giggle at the end of the night. We're getting giddy is what's happening.
Yeah.
It's the time of night
Yeah.
when we're getting
You know what? That does sound like us at the Pinoca Stampede. Drink a whiskey drink. Drink a cider drink. Drink a vodka drink.
That's right.
Then you die of a hangover the next day.
4 days of tub thumping at the Pinoca Rodeo. It is the best. We test our livers once a year. We test our livers for good function.
I like to give her a good stretch.
We'll stretch around the track. That's right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We're getting silly, and that's when I know to wrap up the show. And that's when I know when I'm co-hosting with Ezra, that's time to cut him off because he's going to say some crazy things. And I'm getting there. Lise, thank you so much for joining us on another election live stream. Thank you so much to your family for letting us take up so much of your time. And I know they're being quiet somewhere in your house full of children. And I know that is a big burden for Mr. Lise to have to manage on your behalf. And thanks to everybody who works behind the scenes at Rebel News to keep the show going and make sure it's there for you to click when you want to watch it. Thanks to everybody who watched the show tonight, made us far more popular than the mainstream media, and who pitched in a little bit to support the work that we do here at Rebel News. We couldn't do it without you, of course, because we'll never take a penny from Justin Trudeau. You know what? I'm going to let you have some words before we go. Lise.
Say that again.